What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Anti-Spec Spec Club. This is the quarantine edition. My setup ain't, looking like it normally look because I'm in the bedroom on quarantine. But look, we still got to put out this content. So we here Monday night. Got my man Ultra Maximus in the building with me. Ultra, how you doing?
I'm doing excellent, sir. I just sniped an auction that I've been eyeballing for months. So feeling good.
Ooh, yeah, you're gonna have to show that off. You're gonna have to show that off,
Mm.
and before the night is over with. Definitely. Ultra was telling me about that backstage, and he definitely got something. I like having stuff that's different in my collection in my PC, and what Ultra picked up tonight was definitely something that you typically wouldn't find in a person's in a person's collection. So, um, big shout out to my guy Manny the Collector for coming through early. My guy Toon, David Morley in the house. Appreciate you, fellas. Early gang, what's up? I see y'all. Thank y'all for hitting us up early.
Hell yeah.
Let's see here. So, man, we got a lot to get into tonight. But let me start off by paying bills, guys. Don't forget to hit up Bird City Comics. Use that code Ninth Wonder for 10% off your order. That goes off exclusives, ratio variants, all that good stuff. Hit up the good people at Bird City Comics. Um, I'm gonna hit up Ann and see if he can't do a giveaway for this show. Normally, the new giveaway thing is giving a code that'll give you 35% off at 30 birdcitycomics.com. I like that a lot because it's a lot less logistics involved with that. You're 35 off, which saves you a big chunk off of some of those store variants and different things that they have on the site. So definitely gonna hit up Ant to see if we can make that happen for tonight's show as well. But kind of jumping right into it, fellas, I do have a little bit of news I want to share with everybody today. Even though everything hasn't been cemented with this, I've been talking to Yeezy and I've been talking to Ultra about this, and I got Mighty Mel V for a while about bringing something back as far as a not necessarily a speculation show because I hate to call it a speculation show, but kind of more of a books that it just makes too much sense not to buy right now type of show. But y'all might call it a speculation show, a hot list or something of that nature. But that I don't really want to feed into that. I just want to tell y'all some cool books to buy that will make sense. So I got a group of guys together, and this is what we're gonna be dropping on y'all very soon. Future Five. Um, Not sure when the first date is gonna be, but it's gonna be very soon. I want to give Ultra some time to set a list, a set of not I want to say rules, but a set of parameters for this list to make sure that we keep the honesty and integrity in comics. We don't want no BS on the list. We don't want no pump and dump like we done seen on some other lists. We want to try to keep this thing genuine and authentic. And most importantly, we want to give people good, digestible information. We don't want to put a bunch of trash out there or just regurgitating stuff that you can probably find on 20 to 30 YouTube shows at a time that just only do the hot books, the spec books, and things of that nature. So very excited to get Ultra back, doing something in the spec realm. We got some other good guys on that list that have some great ideas. Some of them you know
Absolutely.
about, some that you don't. But most importantly, if you guys want to submit a book to look the man of the
Who
hour
did?
Yeezy popping up. If you guys want to submit a
Oh,
book for Future Five, just hit up me or Yeezy. Don't hit up Ultra because he probably not gonna check them DMs anyway. But hit up me or Yeezy. We'll pre-screen it, and if we think it needs to go up to the big group, then we'll send it up to the big group to have people take a look at it. But anybody is more than welcome to submit a book to this list. If you see a book that's moving on the secondary market and you think it might be worthy of going onto the list, if you have a book that you kind of been specking on yourself, go ahead, and send those submissions in. Like I said, we will filter it out. It's only going to be five books every 2 weeks. So we trying to make this like the highest integrity, the highest consistency um list out there. You know, we're just not trying to find 10 books so we can put out content every week, which I feel that's like part of the problem with the spec game right now is that it's too many people out there making comic book speculation content they just because they need more content to put out, not because they're trying to actually deliver good digestible content to fans and readers and investors of comics. So that's where Future Five is going to be a little bit different. And you know, you can probably tell off the name Future Five. We're trying to jump on spec books before they blow up, not after you know they blow up. So I'm pretty excited to be working on that. We hope to get that content out to you guys again. That will be uploading on Friday mornings every 2 weeks. So Friday mornings every 2 weeks, that'll be uploading. We will pre-record it. For the most part, I should be there in the chat to interact with everybody. But you know that will be a pre-recorded show for the most part. Um,
we got to figure out the logistics on that too, of how it's gonna be shared on both y'all's channels.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I've been meaning to actually talk to you guys and like so we can like put a meeting together and stuff like that. But
okay, cool.
Just know that this brain doesn't stop even when it sleeps.
Sleep.
That's all I can say.
Yeah. I figured as much. Like, and I figured like that was a very small detail into it. Then yeah, I figured we'd have.
It's gonna be pretty sweet. I think you guys are gonna like it because it'll allow us a lot of freedom, but it also will
help both channels
on both channels. Yeah. So there will be a lot of transparency and this is just it. Is when there's too many smoke and mirrors and there's too many ulterior motives. That's when lists like this can get messed up. Mm-hmm. So, like just in the chat today, I hoped it was a little bit of a pep talk, like kind of explaining like if there's like if you got just some random store exclusive cover of a book that you're putting on this list because you think it's hot and it's got a first print. It's got a 1 in 25. It's got a 1 in 50, and and none of those are hot whatsoever. But you're just putting a store exclusive on there. It's probably not going to be a book for this list. That's probably like the easiest way I can explain it is that there has to be some substance to the book other than just a cover.
Yeah,
and we're trying to really look for books so that there's not a lot of bag holding because. Man, have you guys been watching some of the prices on some of these books after the movie release of Thor? Let me just point out some spec books from Thor: Love and Thunder specifically related to Gore the God Butcher. I've been watching those books on the after movie sales, and it is definitely time to buy on the dip.
Yeah. I think I saw like what a 9.8 Gore the God Butcher today. Like someone's Instagram post. I don't remember who it is, so sorry if I'm a follower and I don't remember exactly whose post it was, but I think it sold for like $200, $250, somewhere in there, 2 and some change for a 9.8.
So I might have been around the spec game for a little while. And this is where I like to remind people again, you buy on rumor, you sell on news.
Yeah.
If you still are holding your spec when the trailer drops, that's going to be your last opportunity until maybe you might see a little tiny little splurt of something the week of movie release. But if it's a movie speculation that you have, you want to be clear of that product before the movie drops. Yeah. Period.
Yeah.
Hold your PC copies. I mean, yeah, if you want to hold on to a 9.8 or 2 and you want to sell off all your raws and just see what that 9.8 does maybe later on down the road, that's the perfect way to approach it. But and yeah, Tomb is right. Pump and dump will destroy the hobby because it's just like anything, man. It's like false expectations. It's like,
it's like if someone brings up this hype up for you, like up to this roller coaster or whatever, and then as soon as you get to experience it, it's not as fun as whatever someone hyped it up to be, and then
you're a bag holder.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be the bag holder when it comes to things that you are investing your money into, especially if you're collecting this stuff. And look, I'm by no means a rich man. I do get excited when I buy a collectible that I know is worth more than what I paid for it. But that's what we all want. That's why we're in this hobby. Some of us get get a high on that. Like, wow, man, I just scored this $100 book for $50. That's always like a great feeling. Like, especially on release day, when you got to drive an hour away to a chain store to find that high ratio variant that none of the small stores around your house have, and you're like freaking out because you're trying to find this thing and it's already going for 100, 120 on eBay. Nobody saw it coming, and it's one of those perfect storm books. I love that chase.
Yeah, it's such a dragon to chase too, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh, I mean, so for me, that book was Bee and Puppet Cat #9. Like, I'm pretty sure I found it in the back issue at a LCS, and then I thought it was a different book, so I skipped it, and I just kept on going back to that shop every so often, looking for it, and then one day they had a 50% off sale, and they actually had it in the back issue bin, $4. So I got it for $2. And then by this point, it was like $80 book. So first row special, like, ooh. And so big check mark off my book, like, where I was like, kind of like, yes, patience paid, and I get to have one in my PC.
So should I talk about what I nabbed, what I just sniped right before the show?
Yeah. Go ahead, definitely show that off, brother. Show that off.
Okay. You guys might know. I mean, I might be a little bit of an X-Men fan, right?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of one. I mean, everybody knows I'm a Transformers fan, but like X-Men really was my other jam growing up. Months and months and months I've been watching this, and it's been one of those things that's always escaped me whenever I had the money for it. It just wasn't a good time, like, for me to be buying that big of a thing, and I'd have other things I wanted to buy. But I finally had an opportunity where I could just be like, hammer down, and try to put the nail in the coffin bid on this thing. And I saw this thing. There's an auction that ended at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Tuesday. Let me tell you, 5:50 p.m. Pacific Time is probably not a great auction ending time, especially. So let's say that right now you can buy a 9.8 of two of the variants that come in this set for $449.99 each, like a piece. That's like what people are asking for them right now. So I sniped what is called the Chris Claremont Paragon Collection. It is a Chris Claremont hardcover sealed edition that comes with 3 different comics. One of them is Dark Phoenix John Tyler Christopher action figure variant, and it's the only way to get the Dark Phoenix.
Oh,
so
nice.
the red Phoenix action figure variant that looks like the old X-Men carded figures. It's the only way to get it. There's a Days Future Past cover, black and white, and a color variant. And then there's also a Wolverine #1 that actually takes place before the Frank Miller drawn series.
Nice. I remember when that was released, like, because I don't remember what the cost was. I want to say it was like, what, $300 to $500 or
something like that. It was expensive. I do know. I think no. I think it was actually cheap. I think if you pre-ordered it, it's only like I think it was only like $175 pre-ordered. So it was cheap if pre-ordered it. But resale market, you are correct, sir. It is
that's
300 and 500 is what it's going to take. And tonight, and I'm sorry if anybody in the live chat or anybody watching this was in there, because it was a half hour before it ended. It was only at $120.
Oh wow! So you got it at cost again.
That's where it opened. That's not where I got it at, though. So it definitely ended a little bit closer to the target. But I've been watching those, and there hasn't been a buy it now in the reasonable area for quite some time.
I'm going to change this view because I like this one a little bit better.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I feel more comfortable when it's like this.
iPad rebooting. You froze for a minute there, buddy.
No, see, I said it got its limitations. So, like, if I'm flipping over to another screen to get a picture or something like that, then it pauses the feed. So, but I don't know if Ultra showed the picture, but there's the picture of what Ultra won right there on that auction, man. Freaking amazing set right here. I didn't even know this thing existed. Man, I always talk about having stuff that's different in your collection, man. Like that's a part of speculating too. You can't spec on the same books that everybody is chasing. So you got stuff like this there, you ain't really got to worry about prices dropping on this because this is not centered around no MCU spec. Like this is for the real deal collectors right here. People who get this in their collection and they really not letting that go unless, they down bad on hard times or something like that, So it's more
Yeah.
than one way to collect, folks.
Well, I
The
mean,
problem is that now that I have that Jean Grey Dark Phoenix action figure variant, and I got all the Star Wars ones, so I'm caught up in that realm. Shit. Do I start chasing them all now? I'm late. I'm late to the game on the X-Men ones. And then it would have to be also X-Men versus Inhumans. And then I would have to find all the other X-Men appearances in other books like Champions. It's a mess, man. It really is.
yeah, that's a big rabbit hole. And then they even have incentives of those. Like what recently they had that Wolverine that was a 1 in 25. I don't know if you already got that.
I do have that.
Okay, so I mean, at
That
least
one,
I mean, I don't know how hard it is to get now, but
well,
I would assume later down the road it'll be tough.
that one I picked up in hopes that one day I would have that Dark Phoenix, just in case I wanted to chase that rabbit hole. But yeah, that Wolverine, and I'm sorry, with X-Men 97 coming back, animated form, that Wolverine was perfect.
Yeah.
It definitely threw me back into the 90s directly. Looking at the Toy Biz ones on the shelf, man, it doesn't get any better than that. But I know that there's a lot of nostalgia around a lot of those. I mean, above my head, right there is actually a Weapon X Kane second edition. So that's the one that's got him with the fan blades around his wrists.
Nice.
I want the first edition because I love that Weapon X jacket, but
yeah,
man, some of the action, I'm not ready for the figures yet, man. I already dabble in Transformers just a little bit, and everybody's like, how come you don't do Masterpiece and all this other stuff? I'm like, cuz that would replace all my comic book collecting and a lot of other things other hobbies that I've got in order to chase that Masterpiece hole, man. Because and you even gave me a little bit of temptation with that one Masterpiece set. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, this guy I knew that was moving, he was like, is anyone interested in Transformer pieces? And I was like, there's only 2 people I know that would ever be interested in this, and you were one person, and then Nate, Trial by Gods, he would be the other person. And so I sent it to both of y'all, and that's it.
Man.
And then when each of you started asking for specific pieces, I was like, hey, I have a friend that's interested in this, and they're interested in this. And then he's like, man, I don't know if I can sell any at this point. And then because he's like a hardcore collector, you know, he's not a flipper. So like, and he does pick up really good stuff for really cheap. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to like, I guess, fund your hobby, if you will, he doesn't do that. So I mean, you know.
Yeah, I know a lot of Transformers collectors that do not sell anything. They will wait for the exclusive or the release or whatever, and then just put their name down for it, get it, show off their pictures of it, and then take it out of the box, put it in the case, put the box in a closet somewhere, and then like they'll trade people, but they will not sell anything. That's where it's like a little bit different. And you guys remember? Did you guys ever do like a big trade with any of your friends for comic books at all? Ever growing up or anything like that?
It happened to be a lot in sports cards where people would always want, you know, the hot rookie of that year, and then try to trade something that probably wasn't worth anything. I don't think I've ever actually. The only person I actively trade with now, though, is actually Nate. Like Trial by Gods. So like I'll trade him sports cards for comics.
So I traded an Avengers #4.
Oh wow.
Back in the day. It was a wrecked copy. I mean, like look, if this thing was to get graded, it would be like a 1.8.
Okay.
Like
so it's like holding together by a thread, basically.
Barely holding together. The cover had like paint stains on it, you know. So, and I think it had writing on it too. It was just wrecked, absolutely wrecked. But I
yeah.
traded a friend of mine. I got an Uncanny 266. I got a whole bunch of just like a slew of Ghost Rider books, a slew of X-Men books, a lot of the books that I still have in my collection to this day. A lot of newsstand too that I noticed in the Uncanny X-Men run. I'm like, oh, geez, newsstand. All right, cool. I'm cool with that. And I think actually some of the newsstands were Mark Jewelers that I yanked the Mark Jeweler Center out of. I mean, I was 10. I mean, you know, 10, 11 years old. What do you expect me to do here?
Damn.
So it was wild that I actually had that high caliber of a book at one point. And I actually talked to this kid like a couple years ago, and he's like, he still has that book. And he considered himself a shark back then for trading me for all those. But I don't know, man. I think in the end, I think I did all right because I think I got like an Uncanny 268 second print and like a whole bunch of other things. Like I didn't realize it was a second print at the time, and I got it signed by Claremont and Jim Lee. And I do remember putting that one up for an expensive price on eBay, and it sold quick. And I'm like, this copy's like a 4 or 5. Why are you buying this signed Jim Lee, Chris Claremont haggard copy that you can obviously tell is a personal collection book? And they didn't care.
I mean, some people are just completionists too, right? Where they just have to have like every single variant or printing of a run, and then they're just trying to complete those gaps, right? I would assume.
I mean, sometimes I'll stop collecting a run if I can't get everything.
Yeah.
like if there's like a stupid high ratio.
That's what happened with me with that Miles volume from 2019. I believe it's volume 4. I had damn near every ratio, second printing, third printing, open order ratio. It was just 2 books that one of the books I know for sure was pumped. So I was like, bro, I'm never paying what they want for that book because it's issue number 2, the 1 in 25. I know that book was pumped. I'm like, I'm not paying what people want for that book. And then issue 1, the 1 in 50, I just could. I used to be able to find that book for cheap, but I always said, "No, I'm gonna wait. I think I can find it a little bit cheaper." Now, your only copies I ever see pop up are graded copies. So I just gave up on that run. I was just like, man, forget it. It's not worth me pulling my hair out over this run. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think the only run that I am the closest to completing, like with second prints and variants and all, would probably be the Deadpool Daniel Way run. So and the only one I'm probably never gonna get in that collection is the Dynamic Forces sketch drawing or whatever. Like there's like a Dynamic Forces sketch where.
But you have a 45 Ultimate Spider-Man swipe.
Yep, signed by Greg Horn, 9/8.
Nice book.
Yeah, so I figured if I found that, then everything else is going to be a cakewalk. Yeah. So some of those second prints are pretty tough to find, and then I'm starting to find some newsstands in some of the later issues too. So I'm like, I'm not going to complete this run in a newsstand. Like that's going to be impossible or nearly impossible. All right, I probably spend the rest of my life trying to complete that.
One of my favorite storylines is definitely She's the Crazy One.
You know what I found out about newsstands though? When you actually look for them, when you're actively looking for them, you find them a lot more, especially at places like half price books. Mm-hmm. Like now that I'm actively looking for newsstands, I find them a lot more than I did before. And I don't think that it wasn't that I wasn't seeing them before. I think that I wasn't looking for them, you know? So normally when I'm digging through a box, I can look at the top half of a trade dress and tell if it's a book that, you know, would be worth pulling out. You can just always most of the information you need is on the top half of the trade dress. But now, you know, I'm like, okay, let me just make sure I look at the whole book to see if it's a newsstand because, you know, that is something that can make a big difference, you know, on whether or not I pick up a book, especially those books around 2013, 2014, where, you know, those newsstands was just non-existent. So,
yeah. It's funny you mentioned She's the Crazy One because I think I have a couple of those books in a newsstand. So that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I know you bought a Wolverine newsstand, like a modern Wolverine newsstand from me off of eBay. I'm not off of eBay, off of Whatnot.
Off
That
of
was
that.
pretty clean.
Yeah, because I feel like even because that was even before the actor announcement, right? I still think people are sleeping on Wolverine books. Like,
Yeah, I think
why
they
would
are
you?
too, man. It's like the easiest investment you can make,
I
bro. The
mean,
Wolverine books.
the obvious one that everyone is chasing after that that goes in dips and blah blah blah. It's not even the first full appearance or first appearance. So
No, there's no doubt that 180 is his first appearance. 181 is his first cover. So
yeah,
I don't understand what the debate is here.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Clearly,
Yeah, the people like to overcomplicate it. Man, I always think about people
I'm still
collections
saying
that I
Foom
would like
Six.
to I always think about people collections I would like to go through. And some of them that just pop up in the top of my head. Yeezy, I wouldn't really want to go through his collection because I know Yeezy got some stuff
Dude,
over there and he don't be showing a half of what he got.
it's so
This guy,
unorganized. It's so unorganized, man. Like,
Jack, I want to go through Jack damn collection because I know he got some stuff over there. Um,
I think my
Ultra
most
for
organ my
Ultra for X-Men and modern stuff. I know Ultra man. I know he got some stuff over there, man.
I haven't
Mel,
wholesaled everything. Not yet.
Mel, Mel. I know Mel got some stuff over there, man. Mel be. I want to
Mel
go through
Oakley
Mel
talked about how he
collection.
loses stuff in the garage, so we know he has something there.
I
It's like I couldn't find the box
can't
that it
laugh
was
like
in.
that.
That's my favorite.
And
Like, it's like I couldn't find that one box. It was behind another one or something like that. And it's like kind of like, man, just pay one of us to go out there and dig out stuff for you.
Trial by Gods.
Oh,
Trial by
dude.
Gods, Nate, man. Every time I see that dude posting something, I be like, bro, where do you it's like he
So
must run a hedge fund or something, man, because he's been having some unbelievable stuff.
so I've been to his house because when we first met, he was really interested in my Hank Aaron 1 of 1 autograph, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he said bring that card and then look through my collection and then see what you're interested in. I was like, okay, cool. And so I was like, ooh, nice. And so I was like, all right, let me go ahead and swing by and see what I'm interested in. And then the first time there, it was just jaw dropping. I was just like, kind of like, I don't even know where to start. What do I look at? Like I'm just like mesmerized by your wall of like comics. Like I was just like kind of like, and then I started flipping through books. I was just like kind of like, I don't even know like what monetary value does start at, like what were you trading for this? And then so I mean, till this day I still have the card and I'm sure he still wants it. So I still haven't figured out what to trade it.
But see, how do you put a price on a card like that? Because it's Hank Aaron. He
Right.
passed away. It's a 1-on-1. Like you see, that's the type of thing where, like, I could want that card, but I only be willing to pay so much. Now you could get a Hank Aaron super fan or just a historian who might blow your back out for that card. It really just depends on who who you get that card in front of. That's the
Yeah.
big thing about it. So, but that man, that's a very unique card. But see, that's something but see, that's one of those things you want to keep in your collection, honestly, because
It's a 1 of
it's
1.
always like an ultimate trade. It's always like an ultimate trade piece, or just like
Or
that.
showcase piece, something
Yeah,
like that. Like eye candy to get people to come look in your booth, right? Even though you
yeah,
could put like a ridiculous price on it, and then someone will probably still pay for it one day if they're that
yeah.
big of a fan. Who knows?
True that, man.
Yeah.
Dang, but speaking, we kind of touched on it earlier about prices dropping. In the secondary market once comic speculation does or doesn't hit, or it doesn't hit the way people think it will, like with Gore, what we're seeing right now. And I'm gonna scroll back to a comment that
It's
Manny said earlier that he was looking for $40 copies of God of Thunder 2 or 6.
Oh, 6. Oh yeah, my man. He's like, that's my comfortable price.
well,
And
is it really like a market drop or is it a price correction? Like I think that's what the confusion is really in this. That like
nail on the head.
Yeah,
Because,
right.
or and I don't mean to be the conspiracy theorist, but there's no coincidences. Is what if it's the propped up price, maybe done, maybe not so cleanly, maybe had a couple follow ups that made it look kind of clean, but nobody was ever really paying that. Like you gotta really investigate how many times the book sells at a peak price versus just what the peak price was. And you got to also then look back at the run up on the book. You can tell when somebody's doing something that they're not supposed to when a book's selling for more than 15 other copies listed at the same time. And when you have an auction that exceeds all the buy it nows until you say something online and then somebody goes back and clears the buy it nows, and then the auction is the lowest, and it's like, we kind of see what's going on here.
Yeah.
You can't fool me.
I mean, and you can't fool like 5 other people that are doing the same thing you're doing, monitoring that kind of activity, because it happens. I mean, I hate to say it's a common practice, but it's a well-known practice that people get easily caught up in, right?
Well, we are in a hobby with limited availability of a product, thus making rarity look a certain way, and people who have money and the ability to just clear out every available piece of inventory on the internet then hold the inventory. And look, I've been there before. Like, so at one point I held 1% estimated of a total print run of a book. That's like nuts, right? Like if you think about it. So apparently there was only about 300 copies of this 1 in 25 Transformers book released. And in fact, it might have caught the attention of some like Cover Price and some other things. I think it actually made the Cover Price hot movers and shakers list one week. Transformers More Than Meets the Eye, number 19 to 1 in 25 incentive.
Man, it's a dude I follow on Instagram. I see him post almost every week looking for that book, man. He's looking for that like a crack fiend, man, in the 80s. He looking like that, like a fiend was looking for that rock, man. Like,
so
he wants
I
that book
went
bad.
forever without a copy of that book, and then all of a sudden I found one, and the next thing you know I found two, and then the third one I found for $4.50 in a back issue bin without a bag and board.
See, I think that's what it takes though too sometimes, right? Like not just to pick up the first copy that you've ever seen, but like being able to pay the price that you're comfortable at, and then also just patient.
That book's a different story. So
Okay.
Actually at one point, kicked over my keyboard. At one point in my life, I did a video about like some of the rarest Transformers variants, and I think there's about 30 of them on this list that I did. And that video, I believe, caused people to dig up and find the actual number one on that list and make it more common. But those are available for anywhere between, I think, $800 to $1,500, some of them raw.
Wow.
So that book right there should tell you how insane $800 to $1,500 raw for a Transformers 25 copy incentive. It's not just any book though. It's Orion Pax. So it's the guy before he became Optimus Prime. He went by the name Orion Pax, and it's basically like younger Optimus. It's like an origin of Optimus Prime, basically. And there's a 25 copy incentive by Clayton Crane that it was very, very, very hard to obtain. But in fact, one of the stores, one of the honey holes that found 19 1 in 25 at, also had that 1 in 25 sitting there. They had it for a stupid high price though, and then I paid it. I was like, you know what? I haven't seen any other ones. I'm paying it. And best decision ever, because those two are ridiculous when it comes to rarity. But I'm sure there are other books like Power Rangers out there that are going to have a book like that. And especially, being with Boom does have some low print stuff. I know there's G.I. Joe books like that. I know there's Star Wars books like that. I know there's just, you go to any genre that you're looking for, there's going to be like that one, there's going to be like a couple of books in that run that are just like almost unobtainium. You see them pop up and it's never at a good time. You're like, do I buy a book or do I pay my mortgage? What am I doing here? Wife will forgive me. We'll just go a month behind, pay some fees. No, that's not a good idea. But yeah, it's usually when that stuff happens. So I wish any completionist, aka set collector, aka hardcore badass MF, for putting together any complete run, variants, high ratios, whatever, how you're doing it. Because when you get that last book, there's no feeling like it. Like right now, I got the last book in the Star Wars collection, and I'm about to return it because I don't like the condition of it because it arrived fucked. I'm like, damn, I got to do this again. So it's one of those things.
And I know you press books, and so even if you have to think about that, where it's like, can I even press
color break on a wraparound cover? It's like, fuck, no.
Yeah. It's like send that back. Yep. Yeah.
I paid $80 for this shit. No.
Yeah. I mean,
I was more than 10 available too. That's the fucked up part. Like, oh, so you got more than 10 available, and this is the best one you can pick for me, dude. Come on, man.
Yeah, I was really happy when I finished the Deadpool Joe Kelly run and all that. So
that's a sick run, dude.
Yeah, I think that technically the only one I'm missing is the action figure one for the Hulk issue.
What was that? What was that?
The only issue I'm missing is the Hulk one.
No. I'm talking to what Ninth just posted up there.
I think I showed this before. I'm not 100% sure, but this is the Tony Fleek's book, In My Lifetime.
Which his first work.
Yeah, his first work. This is his first work.
Did you find it?
No, I haven't found it.
Okay.
But this is a theory of mine. If I never say, because I asked Tony about this at Denver, because I was just curious, because I know I was wondering one day what was his first artwork. So I said, if I never put this on YouTube and nobody else thinks to find out and ask Tony, will anybody even be aware this book exists? Because it's none on eBay. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put this out here. And it could be somewhere, some sitting in some back issue bins and comic shops throughout America, something of that nature, man. Who knows? But if I put it out there, then people will start looking for it. And eventually some copies can make their way to eBay instead of sitting on it, me never finding the book myself out in a while and never having a chance to own this book. And sometimes I think that's like where you got to learn to make a decision. Like, should I make people aware of this book that I'm looking for, or should I sit on that information until I find a book for myself? And as a collector and a content creator, I think that's a hard decision to make.
It's a very tough balance as somebody who does try to make a PowerPoint of good books for people to look for at the same time I'm looking for them, which kind of doesn't work out in my favor all the time. Got to bring too much attention to some books, and then they're evaporated off the face of the earth permanently. But every now and then, Ninth, if you tell people about it, they materialize.
Yeah,
it brings them to market sometimes.
Yeah, but then I know this: you and Josh will be fighting over it on eBay if it does show up there into an auction or a buy it now price. I would assume a buy it now price, because probably like the person that's probably selling it probably looked up previous sold, and you probably couldn't find anything for, I don't know, since that book was released, I would assume.
Yeah.
James, that allegedly limited, you gotta make sure you know who you're dealing with, man. You know how many of that book there are. If you really look hard enough, you can kind of tell. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
You know, but sometimes, y'all, I will say on that. Okay, so I don't know if James is talking about the 8 billion genies, but it's a possibility that he could be talking about the 8 billion genies. And if that's the case, I'll say this. And I don't think I'm exposing anything because Ant said it himself. Ant does a lot of variants, right? And he's not sure if one of them is going to be a hit. He said a lot of people have been trying to take credit for that Genie book, saying, "Oh, I was pumping this book first. I always believed in this book. I was talking about this book." Da 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 da. Okay, now when it was FOC, so I do an FOC show, cover picks. Y'all can catch that on Wednesdays at 6 o'clock with me, Yeezy, Dark Evolution Comics, and from Bird City. That was the number one draft pick that week by Dark Evolution Comics, and Ant revealed the genies the 8 billion genies Super Mario 3 homage on that show. Okay. Now, I
Oh
did
yeah.
say that cover was fire and that it should do good, regardless if it's spec behind the book or not. It's just a dope cover, and I really like the cover. Um, I collect I collect video game covers. That's one of my things because I'm a gamer. I like video games. Now, I say all that to say this. So, Ant was doing a thing where he was trying to get rid of some of his inventory. And he hit up some of us whatnot sellers and said, "Hey, I'm gonna cut y'all a deal on some books, yada yada yada." And I said, "Hey, can you throw me a couple of those Genie books in there?" Because Phil, Vintage Toys and Comics, said, "Hey, I think that Genies is probably gonna get option. I'm hearing some stuff." So Phil looked at that book and said, "All right, out of all the store variants I see, this is the best one. I'm gonna put my money on that." That's a gambler. That's not gamble. That's a gambler. Mind
Phil's
you,
gambler.
Yeah.
Phil's not on. Phil's not on right as of right now. Phil's not on any. He don't have his own YouTube. He not on Flipside. He not anywhere else. He don't really have an avenue to pump a book. So this is true speculation because he did his research. Said, "Hey, this is the best cover." Okay, I'm going. I'm gonna put my money down on this cover because we all know once a book get option news, you're gonna see an uptick in sales, and that's gonna put increased eyes on the property. People gonna go through and dissect every little cover for it. So I said, you know what? I agree with you, Phil. I already like this cover. I think I'm gonna buy some. I'm gonna buy some more of that. Ant was already sold out at this point because Phil had went back in and bought extras from Ant. It wasn't a crazy amount because the book sold good off top anyways. And a lot of people that order from Bird City, they order multiple copies. Just regular people that show up on a weekly basis when Bird City is dropping something, they buy multiple copies. I know this because since I started working with Bird City with them being the sponsor for my show, people hit me up to show me when they've bought stuff from Bird City, and a lot of times it's multiple copies. So when I went on to buy copies of this book, I bought a bunch of copies from somebody, and it wasn't Bird City. It was somebody that had bought into that variant with Bird City. They bought a small percentage of the print run, and I bought out most of their copies. Now, I will tell you this. I sold pretty much all of my copies on Whatnot. I didn't sell any of them on eBay. So in this particular instance, if it's people out there selling multiples of that Genie book and they slow leaking them out, it's only a few people that possibly got copies of this book, and a lot of them bought them off. They paid the retail price for it, the 25 or $20, whatever, and 616 was charging for the book. That book was totally organic, right? That book was totally organic. Nobody really saw that coming. That book got optioned after one issue, bro. Like you don't see that too often. That shit was like catching lightning in a bottle. That was simply catching lightning in a bottle. That don't happen that often.
Not
So
often.
all you guys that bought that Genie from Bird City before it blew up, congratulations. You probably just paid for everything that you bought from Bird City all year off that book alone. But I'm gonna go deeper to it to show y'all this. That's not the first sellout that Ant has had this year. Ant has had other books sell out. Why? Because he doesn't cheat the process. He don't say, "Well, I'm gonna do this book because I think it's gonna be a hot book." He does indie books, DC books, Marvel books. Anthony spends a lot of money investing into different artists, investing into different projects, because you never really know which one is going to hit. You really don't, bro. It's like playing the lotto. And Ultra know he does an FOC show. I know because I do an FOC show. I'm pretty sure Aaron knows now because he's been doing an FOC show with me for a while. You never really know which one of these books is going to hit. So a lot of times when you see fuckery afoot on a book, 9 times out of 10, it happens on a big two book. More than like most of the times, it's like a Marvel book. A lot of times you see a lot of fuckery afoot on a Marvel book, and where that comes in a lot of times is people lying about the print run, because Marvel, you got to do a minimum of 3,000, right? So people want to say, oh, we destroy X and X copies. In my opinion, I don't think it's nobody out there taking an image book saying the print run is 500, but they really ordered 1,000. Because if you go back on any exclusive retailer's website and look, they got a lot of indie stuff that's still available on that website. And you would have had to known ahead of time that 1 Billion Genies was going to get optioned after one issue to really just go crazy on ordering. Just like, oh, this the book right here. I'm going to order 1,000 of these, but I'm only going to say the print run is 500, and I just slowly leak out the others. But it's some books where I'm not going to call nobody out, where they will say, oh, print run is 300, knowing damn well they got a warehouse full of them. It's a lot of that happening out there. But when you do get these rare situations where somebody does a dope store variant for a book, and that book happens to get option news, or it really just takes off on the secondary market, it's a beautiful thing. And I know how hard Anthony worked on that book and making sure that Trish spent a lot of time getting all the small details right on that book. And the universe just aligned with them on that one, man. Oh, Mel pointed out they Dead Lucky book. That sold out. That sold out already. That's Radiant Black Universe, which I've been pushing that universe for a long time, man. I've been pushing that, pretty much since day one.
Well, that's gonna hit on multiple levels if you really think about it too, because that's also that artist's first comic cover.
Yeah, first. So
you never know if they're gonna explode as a comic artist. They could. They have the talents to, if they, I guess self-manage or sign up with the right people.
And if you watch the secret variant, you would have noticed me pointing out a certain book that has the first artwork done on a comic book by an artist that has a pretty big following.
So you make sure you're subscribed to this guy's show.
They don't call it the secret variant for nothing. Got to go watch that shit.
Oh, shh. You can't talk about it, right?
Like I said, man, you gotta know where to look. You got to know the biggest thing to me, because if you compare where I was at last year to now, like even just go back a little bit further than last year, maybe towards I think the beginning of last year is when I first got on Drunken Chat. If you go from then to now, like just kind of the access I got, different people that I can talk to and pick their brains is way different than what I have now. Like me being able to sit down and eat a steak dinner with Dennis Barger and him telling me all the ins and outs of how ratios work, this, that, and the third, it's a game changer. And it'll make you spend your money different, Information, man, I've always been a big believer that information is key. Like it's not about to a certain extent, it is about who you know, but what you know can be a deadly thing, man. What you know can be a deadly thing. And learning about store variants, like that was huge for me. In understanding that a lot of times to do it the right way, you're gonna take some losses. And that was huge to me. and not everything is going to be a success. And you can kind of tell, when you can kind of tell now. I fully feel that even the average consumers are starting to get more aware to the BS scams and games that's being played. Not only with store exclusives, but with eBay and other selling platforms, and when people are pumping the book or the second print BS. And so right now, I think a lot of people saying that we in a recession, oh, the market is crashing. I don't think that's the case. I think that people are just becoming more aware to what they should be buying and what they shouldn't be buying, versus if you go back like when COVID first started, it was all kind of people jumping into this that didn't have no clue in hell what they was doing. They were just buying any store variant that came out because it was a limited print run. Oh, it's only 1,000 of these. It's only 500. Oh, I gotta get that. Oh, those ain't gonna last for long. Say all that. Just look. The game is always changing. You know what I'm saying? The game is always changing. It was a way to store variants was done for a cool minute, and a lot of people was making good money off of it. But guess what? You got too many people like me and Ultra and Mel just calling out the BS now, and they got to change their game. They got to change their game, and they got to stay honest. Another thing people don't want to talk about, and I know y'all gonna get on my case for this. I know y'all gonna have something to say, but trust me when I say this. This is look. I'm always people first, regardless of any affiliations I got. 1 second, y'all. 1 second.
Yo.
Let me get my guy Mello up in here. Mello for prayers. For y'all that do know Mello, y'all know Mello is an awesome guy. For y'all that don't know Mello, Mello is a fellow whatnot seller. All around awesome fucking dude. Solid, solid, solid. I met him through B Shy Hobbies, aka Tony, at Orlando MegaCon. And these dudes was out there hustling. They was trying to make their money doing the whatnot sales at MegaCon. And I was like, man, I like these dudes. They some true hustlers. And then while I was in Denver, Mello hopped in one of my whatnot sales and was hyping everybody up and doing his thing. So I threw that moderator tag on him, and just I can automatically tell, like, man, you know what? This gonna be my guy right here. I give him shit for wearing them damn OKC jerseys, but all around he's a good guy, man. He's a good guy.
That Mellow.
But
Wrong
man,
Mellow. That's what I say every time I pull out his card and when I'm breaking cards. Wrong Mellow.
Yeah.
So man, back to the topic at hand.
Mel in the
I
chat.
got kind of sidetracked right there. So a lot of people want to downplay the power of whatnot. A lot of people want to downplay the power of whatnot. And this is the thing y'all got to take in consideration. It's thousands of sales happening every day on whatnot that's not be able to be tracked by Cover Price, CBSI, anybody else that any Go Collect, anybody else that has the technology to track digital sales. There's no way for you to go back and look at it. It's not like My Comic Shop or eBay where you can go back and look at the sales behind after the fact. Also with that with those thousands of sales, I'm saying thousands. It could be more than thousands. I'm not sure if it's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, but I know it's a lot of transactions going down on whatnot every day. Sometimes people, they bias towards whatnot goes one way or the other. Either they say, oh, stuff sells for too cheap on whatnot, or stuff sells for too much on whatnot. It's always, oh boy, you over there glitching like an Android phone.
I don't know what's going on, bro.
He keeps on trying to go through two different dimensions at the same time, man. It's wild.
I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying. Every time I step away from it, it's going.
You good, bro? Take your time. Take your time. But I will say this. I feel like with all the transactions that's going on whatnot, it's a larger part of the market that's not being accounted for, right? Sorry, y'all. Y'all know I'm fighting this COVID, man. It's a large part of the market that's not being accounted for. And a good example I make, I sold a Champions #2 Divided We Stand variant. Very hard to find book for about $150 on whatnot. There hasn't been a sale of that book on eBay. I can't find a sale of that book on eBay, but that transpired on whatnot. So there's no record of that sale out there. But in my opinion, that book selling for $150, if that would have happened on eBay, people would have been throwing that on they top 10 list. It would have been on movers and shakers, on cover price. But since it's on whatnot, it don't count.
It's not that it doesn't count. You just got to remember to take the screen cap and share it on social media.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but they still won't count it. But my thing I'm trying to say is this, y'all. Until those whatnot sales can really be drilled down on and the data can be calculated, right now it's a big part of the market that's missing. And if you just look in general, it's a lot of books on eBay that's not. It's not the stuff. It's even we're talking about a price reduction in some books. It just, when I look at eBay, it seems like stuff is sitting for longer or it's not moving as fast as books used to. And that's because whatnot has a bigger share of the market than people want to admit. And a lot of new buyers that's coming into the market is coming in through whatnot. So where I feel as if, at the beginning of COVID, no whatnot. So everybody sitting in the house, you want to buy comic books, you got eBay, you got a couple of retailer sites out there. Well, guess what? Now they can go to whatnot. They can find anybody from a big retailer to a guy like me selling comics out of his house, and you never know what we gonna have on that show. And that's a big part of the market that's not being taken into account. So some of this stuff that we seeing is just like Ultra was saying at the beginning, is where people were pumping books up before, pumping books up. Those prices are starting to come back to where they should be. So it's not that the prices that the price of the book is going down. It's like, no, this is where this book should have been the whole time. And I've been saying that, been agreeing with that. I don't like villain Spec, no way. Why y'all was out here spending a car payment on the first damn Gore the God Butcher?
This was a book that I felt exactly about that. I wish I could have sold it when it was listed for $1,200. Now it's like $300.
I would still hold on to that.
But did you see when it? I know, but did you see when it was listed for $1,200? You telling me you wouldn't take it?
But nobody was paying $1,200 for that.
I bought that book for $30, and I was happy to get rid of it for $150.
I think the highest sold I saw was 80. 150 raw. Yeah. I see that right now.
Yeah, I mean, but I think at the time it was like it reached a high of like 300 raw or whatever, and I was like kind of like, well, I know I'm not gonna get 300.
Yeah.
And if it's gonna like if it falls anywhere over 100 and like anywhere in between that, I'm happy. And
yeah,
I was happy. So
I know there's still people out there probably still sleeping on Doctor Strange and everything, so no spoilers or nothing, but that might have put something in that book there. So I was like, damn, man, why they gotta do Peggy like that?
Man, but sometimes you gotta be happy. I always tell people this. Sometimes you gotta be happy with the little wins. You can't try to get the max amount for every book. Like Aaron said, he took a $30 book, flipped it for $100-something. That's the win all day. I don't care if that book it goes up to. It's too. You also gotta realize the potential of what a book has to be. Like Captain Carter, I'm a Peggy Carter fan, right? So I'm gonna keep my copy, whatever. I'm not really most PC stuff. I keep it raw because what's the point of grading? I like the condition that it's in. I'm gonna keep the book regardless, just because I want to flip through my short boxes and look at it. Really don't care about the grade. Honestly, a lot of grade stuff, I
want that registry. I want that registry notation.
Yeah, it's got 2021 on the cover.
I want that plaque where it's like this guy owns every single copy in a 9.8 for whatever. Not really, but
sometimes you just got to get a book graded just because it's rare, or
Or I mean, like it's like one of those things, right? You grade it, and then like if you have to sell it on a rainy day, you have that opportunity, and everyone can agree, hey, this is a 9.8, whatever, blah blah blah, or whatever grade it is. It's worth this much on this day at this time. That's the way I see it as.
That's true.
2 weeks, a good price. You're telling me you wouldn't take a 9.8, 9 billion or 8 billion genies, Mario homage?
For how much?
Yeah, I would see. Look,
I mean,
I
we're
love
talking
you,
a good price
but
for that 2 week rate.
yeah, I would get that book graded and sell it right now.
Yeah, you said
Yeah,
that's
it's
what I
gonna
was
piss me
like.
off. But that's what I'm saying. But see, my raw copy is gonna stay raw. I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that graded. You know, because then I feel like when I get something graded on certain books, it puts more pressure on me to sell it because I done dumped another 40, 50 bucks into grading.
I would.
Would that go back to something I've been saying about grading? The reason them grading companies was backed up was because people was grading books that didn't deserve to be graded, and somebody I know that may have talked to somebody at CGC said one of the reasons was backed up because people graded stuff that don't need to be graded. Why is y'all grade? Look, I was
people
on
were
Facebook.
Just grabbing 9.8s out of the box, just grabbing 9.8. So like 9.8. I don't even know what it is. 9.8. It's just like, bro, oh my.
I was on Facebook. I saw a guy selling new comic book day books that came out within the past like month and a half, and he was selling them CGC graded on Facebook at like bottom of the book $40, $30, 50, maybe like highest book was maybe like $60. And I'm like, why did you take your time getting that graded, bro? Why?
Well, I can say that there are some people that probably grade books for around half of what we would pay.
Yeah, that is true. I forget about that.
Oh, and that's basically legacy account or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Legacy dealer account, I should say.
So those dealer accounts out there that we pay $20 a book, $25 a book to grade, right? They're paying $5, and they send CGC 1,000 books a week or more, and they pay for the quicker turnaround time. So it's like some kind of dealer thing. I know a lot of the local stores around the Sarasota area have slabs on their walls, and it's usually really quickly turn around. and hey, man, if there's a new variant coming out and the store gets it in on Tuesday and they can take it over to Sarasota on Tuesday and you pay that walkthrough fee, they might be able to have it back to you in a 9.8 or a 9.6 on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, sometime in that same week, which is some of the reasons why we always wonder how does that book get slabbed and up on eBay already, man? Well, I live in Florida. I could drive 3 hours one way to CGC if I really wanted to.
Yeah, location.
Florida, shout out, man. Well, you Sarasota. I'm Space Coast, other side, Cocoa Beach.
No, I'm north. I'm in between Daytona and Orlando, Central Florida. So.
Oh, awesome! So
I'm kind of if you're Space Coast, that's wicked, man. That's a good area.
Beach.
So
yeah. Awesome, man. That's cool. Yeah, I think I've been over to a couple shops over in that Sarasota area. There's this one over there, man. They had probably 8 or 9 different ASM 361s on the wall, just all different grades. I'm like, I need to come over to the West Coast a little bit more. We have a few LCSs over here, but like 8 billion genies, not maybe one of the big ones out there, and they were all spoken for on that. And I was like, wow, man. Which, by the way, I only brought that up because that's a 9th in the Mel call. I saw Mel in the chat, and I was like, man, we're gonna pull up that 8 billion genies, man. That was a good one.
I couldn't have my own pedigree collection because I buy from too many sources. I don't buy from one single source.
I agree. Hey, I like them all.
Yeah. So.
But
yeah. So yeah.
But one thing I was gonna say was like when it come to getting books graded, I used to, just because I'm right here at Dallas CBCS, right? I used to be like fixated on getting a lot of stuff graded just because I could get it, back super quick and not have to worry about paying shipping, et cetera, et cetera. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'll get this graded, I get that graded. And for a while I was getting a lot of books graded and I kind of fell back on it because I was just like, man, like, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the point in getting all this graded? But at the same time, I wish I would have got more books graded right before the grading companies really started to get backed up, and right before it. I think at the time, this was before the first price increase. The past three price increases. This is the last before the last three price increases. When I got a bunch of Miles books graded, and I finally sold those books off on Whatnot. I did a Miles sale one day, and I went back and looked at the comps. Man, I made so much money, like from buying those books cover price to getting them graded for like $16 a piece to what I sold them for now. Like, those books could have sold for like $25 a piece, and I would have still made a profit. You know, getting up 50, 75, 100. You know, then you going, into you getting into the 5, 6, 7x return. But most of them sold for more than that. So, I was seeing some of them books I saw 30x return on it, which was crazy. But they was all quality books that deserve to be graded. One thing I can say, I don't think I've ever graded a book that did not deserve to be graded.
Yep.
I think I can honestly say that.
Not even worth making the shipping for it.
Oh yeah, I've bought a modern and a 6.5.
No.
I bought a raw copy of Rick and Morty 1, and the guy was like, he's like, oh yeah, but prices of a 9.6 and or this da 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 da. I send it to Red Hood for pressing, send it out for grading. 6.0. Like, how do you get a 6.0 after a press? Like, and then I was just like, kind of, but yeah, it's a tough, I'm not blaming Red Hood at all. I'm blaming the guy that originally sold it to me. Like, saying like it was already in a near mint condition.
What? Like 6.0? That's got to be something like damage. You know what I mean? Like real bad. Because so the 6.5 that I have, it's a Mark Jeweler, so it's a little bit. It's a little bit different, it's pre banged up before you bought it, so it's in nostalgic condition, as I like to refer to it. And it hasn't been pressed, so I mean, it's definitely one of those things that I've considered cracking open and pressing, just kind of like the New Mutants 87.94 that I have, Mark Jeweler.
You still haven't cracked that and pressed it?
No, man, there's no reason to, man. It's kind of like, it's pretty right there, and it's in my possession already graded with the label on it saying Mark Jeweler.
Yeah, that's true.
Sarah's soda. That's right, Mel. Best soda on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still drinking these Whatnot sodas.
Yeah. See, Titan said he was going to send 10 books, and he changed his mind because he said it's about a year right now.
Is it really a year right now for turnaround time?
Yeah. I mean, just about. I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, because I thought like
CBCS.
I thought CGC,
they're faster queues, but you got to pay for them.
Yeah, I mean, CGC Fast Track, isn't that like 2 or 3 weeks?
So I picked this up. I picked this up recently, and I know at one time this book was selling for like 200 raw.
Yep.
And I think now it's like 175 raw. I could be wrong, but I'll double check on that. But I picked this up for $90 in a 9.6. $90. I know a 9.6 sold for like 175 was like the last sale of this in a 9.6. But the depreciation value between a 9.8 and a 9.6 makes no sense at all, bro. You literally paying for the vanity of seeing that 9.8 on the label versus the 9.6, because when I look at this book,
one spine break. One spine breaks all. It's going to be that one book. One spine break on it. So the guy was just pissed off that day. 9.6.
There's nothing wrong with this book.
What I've always said is that when you're buying 9.6s, you're not buying it for that grade. You're buying for that price that you want to buy into, and to see that growth potential between a 9.6 and 9.8 close, right?
It's kind of like the difference between investing in gold and investing in silver. Silver gives you that exponentially larger return on your investment with a cheaper buy-in versus you shelling out all that money for that 9.8 gold. I think that's a really good analogy for that.
That is. I like
I've
that.
been looking at Predator #1, the 1989 Dark Horse series, and let me tell you, the difference in the 9.8 and the 9.6 and the 9.4 is definitely a price. I'm like, man.
Or you could have
#1's another one of those books.
Or you could have a book, the only one on the census.
I mean, when the 9.4 is the highest graded, it's really not bad, and 9.4 is still near mint. And this is what's going to happen in 100 years from now when we're all dead and our great grandkids are fucking around with our collections. All these graded 9.6s are really going to pay off for them.
Yeah. They can send their kids to college.
9.8s are going to be like the 9.9s today. It's gonna be crazy, man.
So here's one book that I regret not buying in a 9.9 because I saw it up and I'm like, I got a raw copy. I don't need to buy the 9.9. It was $200. I graded my copy and I got a 9.6. And I've dog cussed the sky forever on this one, but
and he still got it.
Oh,
damn!
I was gonna ask you about that book, but I didn't want to bring it up.
You passed up the 9.9.
I passed up the 9.9 for $200. I know the guy who bought it. The guy who bought it actually helped me get a grail that was at one time a very big missing hole in the Transformers collection. And then, of course, a bunch of copies came up. But this book, I was like talking to the CGC guy at MegaCon when I'm dropping it off to him. I'm like, man, this thing should grade like really, really well. And he's all looking around the book too. He's like, man, wow, that is a really nice book. And I swear to God, they probably 9.6'd me because the thick cardstock, if you have it out of the bag and board, it doesn't close all the way. I bet you that's the only reason why this book should have 9.6'd, because it's that thick cardstock. It shows everything, and there's nothing.
Because it technically doesn't lay flat or whatever.
Yeah. That's the only thing I can think of. So I haven't cracked it and pressed it and resubbed it. Like
that's just for the humidity. You know, like I understand. I'm in Houston.
I did a submission, and so in that submission there were 2 9.4s and this 9.6. All the rest were 9.8s, man. So I was like livid because the 2 9.4s was a local comic shop day all new Wolverine.
I swung on that 9.9, man. I'm
the black and white all new Wolverine,
the black and white one, and it looked like somebody pulling the book out of the bag and board at CGC finger bent the back, and they gave me a finger bend on the back cover. I was like, oh mother, I was livid about that. And the same thing on an ASM 316, spine break free ASM 316. And it got a crease on the top rear cover. I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
You said top rear, like the top?
Yeah, like somebody with banana thumbs pulling it out of the bag and board.
I swear someone did that to my Omni-Man foil, man. Someone did that to and I got a 9.4 on that. I sent that thing off and I was like, I don't want to put this in a case unless it's a 9.8, man. I felt like someone did that to me too. Because I was just so obvious. I was like,
banana thumbs, man, banana thumbs.
Yeah, on my Mark foil, Invincible foil, the bottom left corner ended up with like the binary bunch or whatever in the corner, and I was just like kind of like yeah. Oh, I have a question for the. Oh, you're muted.
What you got?
I was saying this is what I hate from CGC. Hold on, you see right there, graders notes unavailable.
Oh yeah.
Bro, nothing more depressing, bro, than getting a 9.6 and then they can't even tell you why you got the damn 9.6.
Yeah. But I have a question for the panel since we're talking about grading. Has anyone on the panel submitted a book and hit a 9.9 or 10?
I only know a Beachside that's got a 9.9. He got that Savage Dragon 9.9.
I've hit a 9.9 through CBCS. My first time grading books with them.
Actually, that's what it was, 9.9 CBCS.
Yeah, I got a 9.9 CBCS, but you know, it's the Ultimate Fallout 4 facsimile. I got that in the 9.9, but CBCS 9.9 is, you know, it's a consolation prize. We'd rather have the CGC 9.9,
that gold label. That's the only thing that makes that look cool is that they change the number, the black font. They change it to gold when it's a 9.9 or a 10.
Yeah. Or
you
Yeah.
know, it's like, all right, a little bit more flash.
No.
Yeah, but it's just as much as I'm not really rocking with CBCS as much more now that they done did another price hike. But
well, when
as
they
much
announced
as
that Steve Borak was leaving, that kind of did it for me.
well, see, from what I heard, Steve really wasn't doing. He was just more like an ambassador for the company, more like, hey, this will give us credibility if we say Steve worked for us, but he wasn't making a lot of decisions. But if I'm Steve and y'all making a lot of jacked up decisions, then we're gonna have to mutually agree to
Part
go our
ways.
separate ways. And I think that's what happened, especially because you notice they released that price increase a little bit after Steve went to my comic shop. So Steve probably was like, "What is y'all doing? Why are y'all increasing it?" I was like,
It was
"Hey,
probably
Steve."
it was probably like already like set up by like a corporate planner or some shit like that, and then
Yeah.
that would be that's what I would imagine.
It was the wrong time to do it in this economy and everything like that. You can't be doing it. You can't be expecting people to be grading them. And people have to meet minimums with some of those dealers too. I was going to ask that with Ninth saying about those new comic book day things. Like, some people might just be doing that to flush out their last little minimum that they got to meet,
Yeah,
So,
that is true. I forgot about that.
yeah.
Which, I know a lot about the contracts until I was talking to somebody, don't want to say no names, and they was telling me about their contract with CGC, and my mouth just hit the damn floor. I was like, what?
Yep.
Bro.
That's why you see those. What'd you say? $60 was the highest slab? People
Yeah.
gotta get
It's
those
like
rotated.
they gotta do that. Yeah, they gotta do that stuff just to hit they minimums, which damn, like CGC was that desperate for business. Some of them contracts I done heard about.
Yep.
And
It's
how
even
many
bigger
years did
when
they?
you're not. Go
And then
ahead.
how many years did they have to commit to that kind of contract?
Yeah.
I've only
I
seen
don't
like
know. I'm asking.
I've only seen like the annual thing with that. As far as I've seen anybody with CGC on those.
So BJ said, what was your motivation to read comic books? For me, I've been reading comic books since I was knee high. I just remember when the X-Men animated series came out on Fox when I was a kid. I went to Walmart either like that same day I watched the first episode or shortly after. And it wasn't the first episode of the show, it was an episode of the show. And they had the comic books in Walmart, X-Men Adventures, and they only had issue 5, which had Rogue stealing Cyclops' powers on the cover. And the cover was like a bunch of different shades of red because Rogue was, the optic blast was going everywhere. And that was so cool to me, man. And I remember like being upset because they only had issue 5. So like I want to say like the next week, my mom took me to a local comic shop because a guy that was in a Walmart was like, yeah, they probably got the other issues at the comic shop. He was saying that they only keep them for so long in Walmart. If they don't sell, that they just send them back. He was like, if you just go to the local comic shop, they'll probably have them. And we went there and they had the other first 4 issues of X-Men Adventures. So to me, comic books was always something I read for a little bit as I got older, but then I kind of fall off. So I got back into it after Iron Man 1 came out. I was kind of like, oh, I need to start reading comics again. And then by 2011, I was full on back into it. 2016, I hit a pause on buying physical copies, but I was still reading on Marvel Unlimited. And I came back into buying physical copies during COVID because I ain't have shit else to spend money on. Why not buy some books? And got into looking at some of my old books, not old books, but books that I bought like kind of around 2013, 14, 15, and 16, right before I stopped. A lot of the stuff that I was buying was the Star Wars and Marvel stuff. And of course, all the keys in there, I had all of that. I had all the good Miles stuff. I had all of it was in a printer paper box. Man, probably like 150 books, all keys and variants. Like I just had it sitting in the closet, like not even aware that I'm sitting on some good money, and so I just started going. A few of them was bagged and boarded. Like some of the variants was bagged and boarded because the shop I went to, they were always bag and board variants. And so I just started I actually went to look up one book. It was the Miles Morales hip hop variant. I went to look up that book to see what it was selling for because I remember I had paid like 10 for it. And I was like, oh, I wonder if this is going for a little something because I was going to sell some books so I could go buy more comic books, honestly, just to read. And I saw what that book was going for raw. And then I saw graded prices, and I wasn't even aware that graded had become such a big deal. And I saw graded prices. I was like, whoa, how do I get this graded? I was like, what's the difference between a 9.6 and a 9.8? And that shit just sent me down a rabbit hole. And to this day, I'm I'm fiend out over these comic books. I guess you can't say I'm a fiend because I make pretty good money selling comic books too. But I mean, for the most part, I'm a fiend because I got more comics than I sell, which and by definition that makes me a damn fiend. So DJ, I hope that answered your question. Thank you for submitting that question, brother. We appreciate it.
So I have a 2-part answer for that question. So when you're a band full of nerds and all you do is talk about like comic books and like different content like that we all watch, like, and that's all you talk about. And when you're on the road and your cell doesn't get reception, graphic novel is the greatest thing to read like on the road. And then my brother, like, I was into comics when I was young. Like, I would sell apples on the corner of the street just so I could buy, like, I don't know, like Batman Adventures 1 or something like that. So I guess I've always been kind of like a flipper of something to get something else that I actually want, right? And my brother gave me a graphic novel, which was, it actually ended up being Batman the Killing Joke. That really got me back into comics. And so I was like, okay, now I got to get a first print. And then I found out about later printings with that book. And then, 3 years later, I have all 14 printings now. And then finding out about the foreign editions, like that's what's killing it for me right now. I'm really trying to avoid going down that rabbit hole because there's like, I don't know, like at least 80 different editions of that now. Or something like that.
I think there's 13 prints of the Killing Joke, if I'm not mistaken. 13.
Well, 14th if you count that like one that came out in the 90s or whatever, where it has the different DC logo on the top and it's green on the bottom right corner again.
And see,
yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah. And then shout out to someone who was it Reddit Rar. I traded him some books and ended up with a newsstand of the 6th print. So there's that also. Yeah, so I'm glad to have that in my collection. I mean, I think at one point in time I had like 3 graded copies of the first print, like a 9.2, a 9.6, and a 9.8. And now I have, for first print, I have a 9.8 and a raw copy. Like I've sold the other ones. Even though that 9.2 was the first book I ever graded ever. So, but yeah. So long story short, that's how I ended up getting back and reading into comics. And then, for me, like reading a lot of indie books now keeps me reading comics. Not so much of the big 2. I will skim through like what's happening in the big 2 just to like keep up with events and kind of like just to see like where the future of comics is going and then like how to relate it to like what's happening in like the content world, right? Because you have to.
You said foreigns, and I got on a whole new rabbit hole in my mind in there. I can't get into the foreign game, man.
It's fun if you find the right sources. I'll say that. Yeah. Like if I didn't have the source I have for Japanese books, I wouldn't buy it from eBay or other sellers and stuff like that. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got any foreigns, Ninth? No, foreign guy.
Foreigns? Yeah, I got foreigns.
We're in Texas. we're so close to
I
Mexico.
gotta,
You like we're just
Yeah.
handed like
yeah.
books.
Easily attainable.
I
Yeah.
got a Russian Ultimate Fallout 4.
Okay.
I got a lot of modern foreign stuff. I ain't really got like,
The vintage.
you know,
Yeah.
some of the older crazy foreign stuff that's out there. But man, that foreign is a whole different market
Completely.
within this. Yeah, you gotta literally relearn everything from the top down. You know, Josh Allen,
Is
Rob
that
Fordham.
International Comics, by the way,
Yeah.
Josh? Okay,
hmm
because I was gonna say I started looking at him, and man, I was like, oh, this ought to be easy. This dude's slinging them easy, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, man, where the hell does this dude find these books?
Yeah, man. But them dudes, man,
Well,
Josh and Rob, they've been on them
they
forums for a while, and you got to build
they have
those relationships.
yeah
Hmm.
they know
Importantly,
people
you got to
all
know
over the
what the hell
world.
you buying. You got to
Yeah,
know what the hell you buying too, because
Yeah.
if you just out there buying all free willy nilly, man, you definitely gonna get burnt. You
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely gonna get burnt.
So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have that Something is Killing the Children Brazil edition without Josh's help. So shout out to Josh.
yeah. He's had some
Like,
crazy stuff.
well, as soon as I found out about that book, I was like, who's the one guy I know that has like solid connections to
Hmm.
Brazil? I was like, it's gonna be Josh. Like, he's gonna find me like high grade copies.
Yep.
He's gonna find copies for himself because he's also a fan of the series. And then I hit him up and he's like, okay, I'm gonna get as many copies as I can. He landed 8 copies, and then I was like, how much are they a piece? Because that's what scared me. And he's like, kind of pricey, but not too pricey. I don't know. I was like, I don't like where that's going, but okay, hit me with the price tag. And then when I heard it, I was like, ooh. I was like, give me 2. And then he's like, all right, I got to figure out who I'm going to sell the other 2 to. So, I'm going to keep 4. I'm going to sell off the other 4. I was like, let me just split it with you. Like, I'll
Yeah.
take 4 copies. Like, also. So, yeah.
Hey, I love me some
So,
Transformers, man.
so I didn't realize I dabbled in foreigns until I realized that I dabbled in foreigns because Transformers UK had their own distribution of a comic. So the way it works is that in the United States, the UK stuff is canon, but in the UK, the United States stuff is not. Like it's UK had their own their own thing. Sometimes they would incorporate the Marvel stories from the Marvel US stuff, but Marvel UK. This is the first mention of Unicron. This is the first appearance of Unicron. Actually appears first in the Marvel UK universe before it ever does in a Marvel reprint. And then, of course, I got another copy in a nice little thick Mylar plastic sleeve. So these are, of course, the magazine size, but they are like National Enquirer thick.
Oh, yeah. Paper thin right there.
Paper thin. These things show all of the damage.
Yeah.
And in fact, what's really cool about those Transformers books is they actually had store variants.
Oh, wow.
Grocery store variant covers. So one of the biggest books in that Transformers UK run was actually the first appearance of a guy named Death's Head. Are you familiar?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I had like a whole run of Monterey with that. Yeah.
Transformers number 113 from the UK is the first appearance of Death's Head, and it's also technically the first Rodimus Prime in UK. So it's like there's a lot of things going on for that book. And at one point, the rumors of him showing up in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 were pretty high because they had actually made an action figure to go along with it in that run, along with Darkhawk. So there's a lot of that could be. It was almost a Mephisto moment, but not quite. We weren't quite at the threshold of it being, oh my God, it's Mephisto. Like everywhere. Mephisto.
Yeah.
Right there. But
I was talking to I was on a Miss Bolo stream last night, and he was telling us that Darkhawk was like one of the dudes that got him started. I've been hearing and he's like the 3rd or 4th person after that I've heard say about Darkhawk, and I'm like, get some Darkhawk up in here right now.
Darkhawk was Dogecoin before Dogecoin ever existed. Literally, somebody memed Darkhawk from being a $75 9.8 to a $300 9.8 by talking about him in Facebook groups and basically doing what market manipulators do, but a little bit more open and trying to be comical about it, and showed him purchasing every copy he possibly could, buying them all in 9.8, and the next thing you know, the market value on Darkhawk #1 went up.
Playing those seeds, man.
No, it was. I definitely remember all that stuff happening in Facebook groups when I first started joining, because what was it? Because people would always ask the most generic question, like, "Hey, what book do I invest into?" And then the number one response, Darkhawk #1.
Sleepwalker #1 was up there for a little while too.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely remember people always saying Darkhawk #1 in a 9.8 or whatever. And then it was super funny. And then I actually ran into one at a convention like in like Colorado or something like that, like Colorado Springs. And the person was asking like $75 for it. Yeah. It's a grail. Yeah, that was always a common phrase for it as well. And I seriously considered buying it just because it was funny to me. And I ended up not doing it. And then like I think like 6 months to a year later is when it like really took off to like what? Did it hit the $300 book?
Yeah, but you know what? It's calmed back down again. So what I love about, and this is a term Ninth's heard me say before, memory hold.
Oh yeah.
Memory hold.
Man, it doesn't take long for some of these newer variant covers, new first appearances, and flavors of the week to get what we call memory hold. And that's when it's been out for long enough that y'all have lost your attention and focused at something else, the newest, hottest flavor of the week, the latest hype trying to be passed around on IG or YouTube.
The new shiniest object, right?
Correct. and basically the old toy that is in the land of forgotten toys over there. And that new Darkhawk kit, he's one of those that has just fallen off, hasn't been used since his miniseries ended. I don't think he's popped up anywhere. And honestly, I got to say, bring back the first Darkhawk, man, because the second one is not all that great. I mean, look, they tried telling a story about a kid, dealing with multiple sclerosis, and I guess that was cool, but it was also, I had my reservations about the writing of that book, the pacing of it, but it's still sold. And actually the hidden gem variant for that one was the variant of the old Darkhawk. And that's the one everybody was like, ooh, oh man, I got to get that. Oh, see, Dwayne, don't even go there, man. Don't even go there.
That's going to start. That's going to, here you go, Ultra. Here goes 9.
I was just about to say, man, I hope I can meme Mosaic into being relevant.
I mean, you don't really have to try that hard either.
He's just so OP, man. You know that's the damn reason why they won't use him.
Well, I mean, if you do need a character to connect all these different like divisions and like to fill in the gaps, he would make the most sense, anyways.
We already wrote an award-winning Mosaic story on Drunken Chat on live air, and nobody was there to pay attention and actually transform it into a book and bring the character back and make him revitalize. Because Mosaic at one point, like how many? There's not very many. I know 2 characters off the top of my head whose second prints are more common than their first prints, and
Mosaic being one.
Mosaic and Weapon H.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm trying to think if there's a third that comes in the close.
There might be, but I know those.
I'm sure there.
Heavy speculation days, man. That's when everybody was fevering. What's that next book that's going to be hot, man? What's that next book? Oh, I hear there's a new character named Mosaic coming out, and I'm partially responsible for that. There was 2 of them for sale online, and I was like, I'm going to put the shut up bid on each one of these at $150, and I got outbid on both. And I was like, God damn, that's a 1 in 25 variant selling for $200+ on release day, huh?
Toasted next Mosaic, not the next Panther. That's a pretty good phrase.
Oh, that I mean,
they've already proven that he wouldn't be the Panther though, right? In the last issue.
No. If anything, they prove that anybody can be the Panther.
Oh, is that what it was?
Remember Challenge Day? I don't know what day on the calendar Challenge Day actually is, but I have a suspicious feeling that the next Challenge Day might have a little bit of Tosin in the episode or the issue.
Oh, here's a good question for the parents on the panel. as parents, which one will you recommend, comics or novels?
That will depend on choice. So here's what I can tell you as somebody who hated reading books because they lacked pictures as a kid. Once I was given a graphic novel, it was off to the races, and my vocabulary exploded, my ability to read exploded, and it made me want to read books more, even though books weren't my favorite because they lacked pictures. So,
but it could help you visualize.
Correct.
Yeah.
It did get the spark in me, but right now my kid's 5. We read books to him, but he's also got comic books. So it's like he loves Sonic the Hedgehog, man, and that's gonna be painful, man. Especially trying to tell him like, well, the first appearance, Shadow has left the building. So we won't be getting that issue unless we win the lottery here, son. So yeah.
That's when you got to teach him how to flip, right?
Daddy needed a Paragon collection more than you needed the first appearance of Shadow. I'm sorry.
I did want to say about James Kreider comment about Tosin. Man, James, you normally be on point with that one, but Mosaic, if Tosin the next Mosaic, that's good because Mosaic is the next great one. Mosaic is the next great one. So that means Tosin is gonna be after him. Y'all gonna stop playing with Mosaic. We all should want more characters like Mosaic. He's not a deviation of anybody. He
original. This is you're
OG original.
Repeating the gripe, man.
You know what?
OG original.
Beachside was telling me.
When they do deviations, y'all want to get mad. Oh, they trying to turn Cap black. They trying to turn Spider-Man black. Now they give y'all a new OG original character, and y'all want to make fun. Okay. Y'all want to make fun of my boy, but when they give him that suit from that X-Men book Ultra was talking about, and he pop up in the MCU, it's gonna be a wrap.
Mosaic Ghost Panther, bro. No, don't even do that to me, because then Marvel be owing me royalties.
Oh, we got the blur on this, but FF19, boys. FF19.
What's that?
FF19. First appearance of Onome, the genius daughter of a Wakandian engineer. Right there, boys. Take that.
Mel about to pop up just about you, just off you saying that. Mel loves that book. Mel loves that
Hey,
book.
Beachside got me in on that. We sat down and looked through that, man. I've been looking for that book. I cannot find that book in the wild right now. But I'm big on that Tosin.
Yeah, I'm big on Mosaic because I've been picking up those, like, what is it, Uncanny Inhumans 11s, like first print, second print, whatever. Like, because they're cheap.
Short box of Mosaic.
They're cheap, and then like Mosaic issue number 1, I'm finding those in dollar bins all day. And I'm just picking them up.
Dollar bin book.
But you know what you're not finding? You're not finding the Barnes and Noble free preview that predated it.
I got one of those.
It's because you have all of them.
Yeah, they told me I could take as many as I wanted, so I took that very literally that day.
Yeah, you need to send me one Ultra because that copy I found had a small rip in it.
Oh man, these aren't none of these are good. They went through Barnes and Noble's mighty finest people, cutting the straps open and throwing them out on the table.
Big corporate shipping, yeah.
Yeah, the one Barnes and Noble book I'm still looking for is that Justice League 51 error, where they put the cover of 52
the 52
on it.
second print, or the 52 cover on 51 without the words. And
yeah,
that was wild times back then.
Yeah, because it went to the direct market as well, but Diamond had pulled all those, and not everyone from Barnes and Noble pulled all of those, and people bought them up whenever they could find them, because I would assume that Barnes and Noble people don't care about comics stuff when they had them on the shelves.
Did you ever go to a Barnes and Noble and see the condition these books were in?
Yes,
they're bad.
They're bad. They're
pretty bad.
And then if you're going to pay $1 more than a direct version.
Well, it was also because, hey, let me see which one's behind this is what the people were doing. And this is get folded in half.
Because it has that like perfect spot where the spine sits, right? And then people are like, let me thumb through it. And then There was something that was I saw at Barnes and Noble that I want to say it was Marvel Comics 1000 or whatever, because it was weird that I actually saw those at Barnes and Nobles, but they weren't on the comic shelf. They were in the graphic novel section. It was kind of weird.
Square bound book maybe would be the
Yeah.
reason why.
And I would assume that it was coming from, whoever they're getting their graphic novels from, because I don't think it was Random House at that point yet.
No, definitely wasn't.
Yeah. So I would assume it was still connected to Diamond somehow through that way.
Wasn't people getting in a fight over the Marvel Comics 1000s at Barnes and Nobles?
Were they? I don't know.
I swear I heard that somewhere.
I thought it was like GameStop's.
Was it GameStop?
I want to say it was GameStop copies.
Culture sounds about right for that, man. GameStop, all nuts, son.
I mean, I worked at ThinkGeek at the time, and we ended up with those books as well. And then, my boss knew I was in the comics. He's like, "Hey, we got these in." I was like, "I'll buy them both."
Say less, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't even worry about it. These going home with me.
Yeah, I mean, GameStop, they ship stuff in a very funny way. Where it's they were thinking about going into the whole comic distribution game. And then I was like, I was really good friends with my manager. I was like, no, you do not want them going into this. People are buying it for the condition of the books. It's look at our graphic novels. They just sit on the shelf anyways. Like, people aren't coming here for comic books. Even if every store had a person like me on staff that knew something about comics at this point in time, it's still not going to do as well as you think it's going to.
But bro, our stock is doing so well, man. We just had somebody trying to short us.
I mean, look at Walmart. They just stack 4 up together, 3 up together, and just toss it on up. They don't say nothing about it. There ain't no promotion behind those, man. Those are sleepers. Those Walmart packs, son.
Yeah, especially when you throw in 1 in 500s and 1 in 1,000s in there, then yeah, of course they're gonna sell like nothing.
Yeah,
but I mean, they're talking about doing taking people's subscription orders and stuff.
They were going to try to compete with the LCS, and thinking that they were going to be able to compete with an LCS who actually knows how to care for paper product. Partially, I mean, we all know how we got some of those comic book shops that just don't give a shit about the condition and will throw every book that they get up on the shelf. And then we've got those other shops that are like, nah, man, entire order came damaged. We ain't selling none of them because they are horrible. And then there's shops that are in between. GameStop, I had a feeling, would be that shop that would just throw everything up on the fucking shelf. They wouldn't care what was up there, and they'd be like, "Why aren't our books selling?" And
I mean,
you would be the customer coming in there and being like, "Hey, man, why are these fucked up books on the shelf?"
Got them in magazine racks.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would prefer if shops just kind of went, and as long as the damages wasn't egregious, I would kind of prefer the shops just threw the shit up there, bro. Like, everything ain't got to be 969 condition.
No. Don't. If you're my local comic shop, please don't put up those incentives that need to be pressed and keep them for me still, please. Thanks.
Yeah.
Just throw it out there, man.
Discount incentives are always
comics are made to be read. Put them books up there. If they want a 9.8, they're gonna press. Go to eBay, get you. If I ran a comic shop, bro, this how they came. I'm not doing all that return bullshit.
This is back why you're the king.
I got that Black Panther number 5. I actually got another one, but I pressed and cleaned both of them. And I don't know if you saw Black Panther number 5, Spider-Punk number 1. That whole little era runs just recently with the horrible paper run, the real thin paper. I don't know if Marvel is switching their printers or whatnot.
They used interior page paper for a cover.
Exactly. Yep. And I went ahead and pressed and cleaned both of those. I had people coming on whatnot, and I think that BP5 sold for about $25 just because it was flawless. I tell you, it was so clean, guys. And those, I wouldn't sleep on that BP5. I'm just saying, Boss Logic did the twist on that BP5 cover A. I got my other one over here. I'm waiting on, man. I'm
Boss
big on the
Logic
PP.
himself is underappreciated, and I
Oh,
would
yeah.
like to point out my Doctor Strange fans need to take a look at that Boss Logic Savage Avengers 13.
Boss Logic is a beast. Boss Logic just signed a Whatnot.
Yep,
Big
and with
shout
Disney
out
Plus.
to
Disney Plus.
the Whatnot Comics team, Jack and them signing
Nice.
Boss Logic. Now, I would
That's
like to
big.
see Boss Logic do more comic covers, but I would like to see him do them in the vein of the stuff that he posts on IG. Because
With
he
his
posts
movie,
some really creative stuff on there.
with his
Like when
movie
he
poster
posted,
stuff, with his movie poster
James
stuff.
Kreider giving away the secret of the Eternals movie on that Boss Logic Eternals 1 cover.
yes, sir. I remember I was pulling them out of Walmart packs. I got a stack of them somewhere around here.
Yeah, Boss Logic's hard, man. He's got some good stuff.
So can we talk on Eternals real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk your
We
shit.
talk
Yeah.
anything, right?
So because he brought up that Boss Logic Eternals #1. Eternals #1 in the future going forward is very important. Specifically that variant, because I believe that's the first variant with the new Mercari, where they basically changed the gender and ethnicity and background and backstory of Mercari. This newest run of Eternals, and of course that one shot that they had with Thanos' father and Thanos' grandfather or cousins or Uranus and all those guys, right? Like, it's getting really interesting why they're pushing Eternals to be in line with the X-Men. Maybe for some mainstream movie alignment.
Mm.
But you guys know that that's the whole premise behind Avengers, X-Men, Eternals, is they're making X-Men deviants, and the Eternals have been sent to exterminate the deviants.
Oh.
But the X-Men are immortal, and so are the Eternals.
Big plot twist there.
So it's one of those things where you have two mortal enemies going after each other, and the Avengers are kind of like in the middle of trying to like stop everybody from killing each other, but the people who are killing each other are immortal, and I have a feeling that we might lose some Avengers. But it's Marvel, and you know death is a revolving door here, so
just like
they
Star
might
Wars,
try to hype
no one
up.
ever really dies, right?
Correct, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Uncle Ben, is pretty much the only one in the 616 that stays dead.
Yeah.
He's revived in other universes because Bucky's back, but everybody else, yeah, you know.
Oh, just like Uncle Owen, right?
True.
I see a slight trending pattern here.
something going on there, yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of potential, I think, for the sequel movie we knew was going to be greenlit because, and everybody who hated Eternals is like, why the hell are they getting a sequel? Oh, they just showed some pretty deep cosmic roots in Thor: Love and Thunder, and I hope they continue to give Thor the outer space treatment instead of having him grounded on a planet like Earth. And
bring
in so much with that. Yeah.
I mean, I know
Quasar.
you've been saying.
I'm looking for Quasar Day, by the way.
I mean, I know you've been saying this since since I started podcasting with you. Marvel has been setting up to build up the cosmic stuff for a long time, and it doesn't surprise me at all, that they are going down that path. So
I just want to see Guardians of the Galaxy acknowledge that Sylvester Stallone's Guardians are indeed the Guardians 3000 from the future, and they've come back in time, and there's still a young Yondu here that must grow old so the other Yondu can exist.
Man, but you know what? I think Marvel movies is kind of on a low right now until they get that cosmic side built all the way up, and then that's when we're gonna see like the next like golden era of Marvel movies, when we have that cosmic built all the way out, and we seeing.
But it's just like music though. You built up so much to Thanos. You hit that banger, right? Now you can't just like drop another drop. Like you can't go drop to drop. Like it doesn't make sense. You have to like slowly build back up to something.
I'm just trying not to have my expectations completely outlandish like so many people have had going into every Marvel project. I mean, bro, since WandaVision, people have been expecting stuff that is like up here, and then when the show is still here and it's good, they're just like, it's not giving me what I want. Well, what you wanted was some incredible ass shit, and Marvel's like, we can't orchestrate what you want, but we're going to give you a taste of things. I think what we're seeing is a version of the Marvel universe that has already had the first Secret Wars, and we're about to get into a second one, which is going to bring everybody back. So I think they hinted to it when they were talking about in Loki, the premier timeline or whatever, the sacred timeline. This is the sacred timeline because this is the timeline that Kang, aka He Who Remains, chose to have. Once Loki did his thing, or Loki and of course his helper, when they killed Kang, they unlocked a whole bunch of other shit that they didn't know was going to happen. And I think the Secret Wars is going to happen in order to them to restore X-Men, Fantastic Four, and everybody else that's missing. I think the universe that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse went to, and we saw the deaths of everybody, I think that's the heroes universe where everybody dies horribly. And we're gonna revisit that universe, and we're every time we go back to that specific universe, at least 5 of the heroes that we know and love are gonna die horribly. So look at what happened to Doctor Strange. He got shouted at by Black Bolt and smithered in pieces, right? And
yeah, sorry, Chad. Sorry, Chad. That's if you haven't seen Doctor Strange,
it's on Disney Plus, man.
Yeah,
we're
come
not
on,
spoiling
guys.
nothing.
Come on, guys. I had someone yell at me the other night for something like that. I'm like, come on, guys. You ain't seen Doctor Strange yet. Like Thor, I can understand and everything, but
you haven't given me an opportunity to get to Thor yet, because I'll get there in just.
I haven't either.
You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, because
we're in an anti-spec show, so it's spoilers are like down
well, did you watch? Do you happen to watch a little show called Drunken Chat? There's some blabbermouth on there that puts together some slides, and he talked about some books every now and then. Talked about some Valkyrie books this past week, and I wanna say this: Singularity is not the play. Jane Foster Valkyrie is the play. And if you can't see that coming from a million miles away, you've got the biggest blinders on, then there's no hope for you.
I
haven't seen the movie yet, but for some reason, I agree with you.
Well, I mean, because, you're talking about 2 different crowds, right? You're talking about sheeple versus, like, people that read. Almost, in a sense, right? Or people that do their research, instead of just like spouting out like whatever information is being told to you.
It's not always about reading, though. It's about being able to see between the lines. But I guess in order to see in between the lines, you have to read so that you have an idea of what's coming, so that you can read in between the lines.
Yeah.
Well, I tend to be a year and a half ahead of things, and it kind of sucks because sometimes I don't even know I'm doing it right. Just automatically.
Yo, War of the Realms, right there. That's I actually got that on hand right here behind me.
So let's talk about this book here for a second and why it's super important, and that is of course because Ms. Jane Foster. I have a feeling it's not going to be a movie. I have a feeling there's going to be a Disney Plus show, and it's going to be called Return of the Valkyries. Just a little bit of a feeling.
Is anyone excited about She-Hulk?
Oh yeah, absolutely excited about She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, I'm through the moon, man. I can't wait till She-Hulk pops.
I love She-Hulk.
Pops off. That's
so.
Man.
You grabbed some books. Did you happen to grab one of them have a golden hammer on it?
No. I just grabbed that war. He was talking about War Realms in the chat there. I was like, man, that's my next thing. All these heroes that are coming up on here, Arrow, you got Iron Fist, all of them, and the Swordmaster. I just can't get enough of the War.
Oh, the new Agents of Atlas.
If you got White Fox
gets picked, man. That's gonna be huge. I know that like a lot of people in the Chinese market who love Marvel product love those books.
Yep.
So it's got the customer base, but we know how strict that market is, and
Yep.
like if it's not done to their liking, they're not going to actually let their people read it. So it's
Exactly. That when I grabbed these books entirely thinking that, especially about moving forward with Arrow and White Fox, like, because Swordmaster Iron Fist, he's definitely going to be a big thing over there. But moving forward with the female characters, I don't know how I feel about those. It's hit or miss, but I like the spec for it. Arrow, and I mean, you got Silk on there too, so I think Silk's the biggest sleeper. There's a lot of people letting that go lightly right now.
Because of Sony, like, who bets on Sony?
Did you see what Kevin Feige said about Sony? You should stop fucking around with trying to make a Spider-Verse like the MCU.
That's funny. But I mean, like, I do agree with the Arrow and New Agents of Atlas play too, because like, especially discussing with Lucas, like, I feel like they need those like characters to bridge that gap in between anime and, I don't know, I guess MCU, like, somehow.
Yeah, that style,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they're gonna go like deeper into the writings, stuff like that. A lot of the people that I knew that were reading Arrow, they're like, oh man, it reads just like a anime manga, so so why not?
But it doesn't have that official look to it. It's more of a serious thing, like you're saying, more towards the MCU look, which is awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, it's perfect for that kind of blending. I think the same thing would fall under like whatever Momoko is writing in her verse, where it's not meant for already avid comic readers, but it's to bring in a new audience into this into this hobby.
Yeah. But do you feel like that really works? Like, I don't like.
Sometimes, not like all the time.
I feel like people that's in the anime, they just gonna be in it. Like one of my homeboys, like he's really into anime. He has a podcast called Bingo Book Podcast. It's an anime podcast, but he still watches all of the Marvel movies. Like if they do an anime style Marvel movie, that's probably just gonna piss him off and be like, what are y'all doing? Like I watch anime, not as much as some people, but I do watch anime, and it's kind of like I get in my feelings. We're like, hey, I want to watch anime. Like I don't feel like watching. Yeah. I don't feel like watching, anything. I'm watching some anime. I feel like when you're doing something good, you should just stick at it. Just stay in your lane and do what you do best and try to do the best version of that. I don't feel like it's really necessary to try to do like a Marvel manga style animation. I just don't. You can take some inspiration from manga and things of that nature that manga fans will see and be like, whoa, that come from such and such, but it's not. You don't have to try to make like a manga style movie.
You got a lot of the things doing it. You got like Samurai Sonja. You got like all the other. I just had a few off the top of my head going along with that, but I feel like the Dino leagues and the things going into the they got that new one coming out, Samurai Doggy. It's like it's a pretty cool.
Is it like Good Boy but like with a samurai dog?
No, they're doing I know someone's doing an exclusive cover for it on that. But I checked it out, and it's like that 90s 80s Japanese, like that bridge of when Japanese culture of that like anime style came over to America, and it was kind of mixed together. And it's kind of that era. You should check it out. It looks pretty cool. I don't doubt on this. Like I said, I was trying to think of some of the others I put on for FOC on that. I just got my Samurai Sonja in, which looks beautiful, by the way. I'm a big Sonja fan on that. Got all my B&Ws on that too.
See, I think what Eric was saying right here, definitely something we're gonna see in the MCU. Like you'll have like the Agents of Atlas for Asia, MI13 for the UK. For Canada, we have Alpha Flight. America, I guess you could say. Avengers. And have all the different teams because they're like, oh, y'all got superpower team? Okay, we're gonna have our own superpower team. You like the superpower team NBA, Olympics.
Yeah.
Everybody got their own superpower teams. I definitely think that's a storyline that we're gonna see play out in the MCU. And that's going to be their kind of excuse to have all of these different super-powered teams so that they could bring, more of these characters in.
I think that's happening when you guys were talking about She-Hulk. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm stoked for She-Hulk, but I feel like she's on this major push of what Ninth is saying exactly right now. And I'm a little hesitant on it, but I like my She-Hulk, don't get me wrong. My She-Hulk bikini covers at Marvel Age, whew, I love that cover, man.
I actually just bought 2 She-Hulk books today. One of them is a graphic novel, 3rd print. So it's that hard black cover. That one, and then the Marvel swimsuit special that came. I found actually a listing with both of those together. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, right.
This makes it easy.
What is this, whatnot? Yeah.
So so the fun fact about that Marvel swimsuit special, Brian Steelfreeze.
Oh,
That's actually his first cover art for Marvel.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if that's his first cover art on any comic, but I know for a fact it's his first cover art on Marvel. Yeah. His next one after the swimsuit special is actually a Marvel Tales.
Okay,
but go to his 5th cover. He drew Namor before he drew Black Panther. His 5th cover is actually a Namor annual from the 1990s Namor series. Nice. And then shout out to Spidey Hunter, because the Steel Freeze cover was one of those joints that I was talking about for Rise of the Black Panther back then. And look at what that set of books is doing now.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of first appearances of people that everybody's speculating on new characters showing up. And like, remember when they were doing that World of Wakanda, they were going to do that Disney Plus show, and then it turned into the Black Panther sequel. And then they were talking about what they're doing with Ironheart and how all these different Wakandan characters are coming. So everybody went looking for cooler, modern Wakandan characters. And that Rise of the Black Panther mini has a ton of them. So that's wild. And then I didn't realize those books were like $30-$40 a piece. Consistently selling in that range. Like, damn. So that's a lot of, like, Namor is definitely going to be big. I think he's going to be real big, especially they're doing a kind of like a more real world modern take on him. Mm-hmm. I think it's more realistic to have him in a ancient buried Aztec city, than it is to have him, of Atlantis. And
I've always loved Namor, the demeanor that he's had, the bad to the good and all that. I've loved that, man.
Yeah, we can't have a cabal without Namor.
Yeah.
and that's where I hope they take it. I really do hope they let him dance on that line of good and evil all the way until he gets tempted to join Black Swan and everybody else that we haven't seen yet showing up for these incursions.
I've always loved it, yeah.
He goes full on badass, right?
Yep. And you got to give Namor a reason to kind of have that disgruntledness and that chip on his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you stay with his original story, I don't think it will make 100% sense for Namor to kind of have that demeanor that he does. But if he's from like a Mayan Aztec buried city under the sea, and that Aztec and Mayan culture, man, that runs deep, bro. It's some scary stuff in there. That's like a religion within itself, bro. Like, I'm not even about to get into that, but man, it's a lot for Marvel to play with. I think it's more for Marvel to play with that than it is with just the regular Namor origin. So that's gonna be pretty pretty interesting. And it also kind of gives him that that something to have a chip on his shoulder and kind of walk that line in between, like, hey, I can be your friend or I can be your enemy. You let me know what you want to do, or him just being that snake that's gonna try to hit your wife, that's gonna take your wife.
Yep. Mr. Steal Your Girl. And look,
Mr.
having a flat head is enough to have a chip on your shoulder, according to Joe's ruling. And he's not wrong. You know, flatheads do
I like that too. I like that too because I've been saying it, and I know me, Phil, and Josh, aka International Comics, was going back and forth about modern comics versus vintage comics, and I feel like everything that Marvel's doing shows that, like, look, we respect our heritage and our tradition and the pageantry that's Marvel Comics, but the stuff that they want to put on film is closer to the modern age than it is like the bronze, silver, well, the silver and gold ages. Like, they getting further and further away from that. And we had already kind of seen it with Captain Carter, where they're taking somebody, putting them into the comics, and then immediately dropping them into a movie. Like, we ain't.
Now they got that Captain Carter copyright for 99 more years, bro.
Yeah.
Yes. 100 years public domain.
Yep.
And that's why people say they, we don't. I understand people don't like deviations. We got to talk about it. They have to do deviations of characters to. Honestly, Marvel has to muddy their own waters to keep the copyright somewhat protected for these IPs that's gonna come up on 100 years. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep other people away from it. If you got so many different amalgamations of a character, it makes it pretty hard for somebody else to come in and try to take that character and do something when they become public domain. Now, just for Marvel, from a business standpoint, for every Spider-Man, you gotta have a Miles Morales, so that the places where you can make money at, merch, movies, stuff like that, you can still do that without that original IP being, interrupted because of any copyright issues. So, I mean, it's I just, look, bronze, silver, gold, always gonna have a place, especially those action ones, those AF-15s. Those ain't going nowhere. But something we was looking at. First appearance of, I think, Stiltman in a 6.5 sold for $300-something. That's more than what a 9.8 of the first Gore the God Butcher is going for. That don't make no sense to me. When the last time Stiltman even been in a comic book, bro? Stiltman is not popping up in the MCU. So you only buying that book because it's old. And my opinion is, just because something is old don't mean it's worth money.
And you know what? Stiltman is not Kite Man, but also one of the rarest Stiltman variants happens to be Superior Spider-Man Volume 2, number 1, second printing.
Fucking Stiltman, bro. Come on, man.
That's where you get into it.
Hey, if they chasing Stiltman, I'm gonna give them some sauce. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want a rare Stiltman book? I just gave you one of the rarest. There you go. Superior Spider-Man second print, number 1, volume 2.
For real, man. Just like it, but people don't like to talk about, bro. It's some modern stuff, books that you will probably never see, but it's vintage books that you will see every day, bro. Whether it's on eBay, whatnot, my comic shop, wherever you go and look, comic shops, it's like some vintage stuff that you will see all the time. But it's some modern books you will never see. You will never see, and whether it's because somebody bought out the print run on it, directly from Diamond, whether it's because somebody bought every copy that they could find on eBay, whatever it is, it's just some books you will never see unless somebody wants you to see them. Like that book Ultra was just talking about, the Transformers book. Listen, it's way more opportunity in modern than it is in gold and silver. All day.
The only reason why Golden Age books are rare is because your great-grandparents recycled them. They fucking turned them in for paper when they needed paper. And that was one of the first things that went was your silly little funny books. Because the newspaper with the important clippings and your dad kept.
Imagine
his paper
imagine you
itself
being
disintegrates over time, anyways.
imagine you being out of toilet paper and your grandfather wiping his ass with your AF-15, bro.
Captain America #1.
That's why that one ad page is missing, you know.
No, it's a wrestling personality I listen to named Jim Cornette. And he said, you know, every year up until his mom died, they had the annual Action One conference call where he would call his mom and tell her what that price of an Action One was worth in the Overstreet guide, because back when he was like a preteen, he wanted to buy a copy of Action Comics for like $50, and his mom told him no. And basically, by the time she died, that a copy of Action Comics was worth like 3 or 4 times the house that she lived in.
Mm-hmm.
Like funny, but this dude, he was it's Jim Cornette. He was a wrestling manager. Like he sold his, I think he sold his Action, not his Action, but he sold, I think, his Amazing Fantasy 15 right before COVID, when stuff really started to pop off. But he was basically saying he didn't have no regrets, but he had like all of the grails and stuff, and just the way he used to talk about it was just like, it's such a weird thing, because when we think like $45 for an Action One, bro, yeah, I'm buying that all day, all day long.
Should I pay that for a Millennium Edition? I pay that for that reprint.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Just like he was just saying, like his first, like he say, like his first comics, like he said, he just like shit that people would kill each other over now. Like he went to his cousin's house and they had some comics, and he spent all weekend reading them, and his uncle just sent him home with a box of comics. And his mama said, well, you just can't have everything for free, Jimmy. So he gave him his week's allowance for the comics, was just like 50 cents. Back then that was probably like $10, right? But nowadays, we probably talking about a cool $1 million in comics, bro. Like
12-cent cover price, and you got 50 cents. Man, that's ripping them off.
That's a good LCS day, buddy.
Yeah, but if you think about it now, think about what
that's a good ORI.
Think about it's $4 comics out there that ain't worth $4 the day that they on the shelf.
Yeah.
This shit, you couldn't even sell them for 25 cents. My LCS had 3 tables of indies for 25 cents a piece, and they were sitting, bro.
Hey, speak of that Action Comics one, I was in Nerdy Girl stream tonight. She was flexing that. I think in like 6.5.
She pulled out an Action One. I'm gonna tell you the craziest Nerdy Girl story. And I know people give Nerdy Girl a lot of shit, but for real, look, she a good chick, man, solid chick. First time I met her, Chicago, C2E2, we was at the Whatnot booth, and I just kind of introduced myself, and she was just kind of like, all right, cool, whoop-de-whoop. We just started talking. So the next day I saw her at the DNA car booth, whatever that name of that company is, and she was like, just had like a stack of slabs, and I was like, what you got? And she was like, oh, I just got these books, that I'm trying to sell at the con. She's like, you could take a look at it and see if you want anything. Bruh, like the first 3 books was probably like Action One, fucking AF, just crazy book.
Superman like, 1, here's an X-Men 1,
I'm like, bro, I can't afford none of this. Like, nah, I'm like, nah, I shouldn't, not me. It's like, no, I'm like, you got any like something that's killing the children, some stray dogs, because this right here, this stack not for me, but man, just man, I was like, yeah, this not for me. This is out of my my price league. And the thing is though, like we see stuff like that and we like, whoa, like blown away. But for her, that's normal. You know what I'm saying? Because you get
Mhm.
the handling books like that all the time. Like, oh, that's just normal. You know, I see these on the regular basis. And the thing that kind of taught me is that sometimes we see people or things for being bigger than what they really are, that we put more of an expectation on them than whether it's a person or a physical thing, than what they really should have. You know, it's just kind of like we get in our minds, it's like, oh, this is a big thing. But in reality, once you kind of see how that magic work, you either like disappointed or you like, oh, okay, that's really not too hard to wrap my mind around, and that's just how it was for me, like with Ultimate Fallout 4. I'm pretty sure it's like a bunch of kids out here who just got into comic book collecting recently, and they grail book is the Ultimate Fallout 4.
Yeah.
But I remember when I had like every damn Miles book, every print of Ultimate Fallout 4. When Miles first came into comics and nobody else wanted it, but every time I would go to my local comic shop, I was staying down in Waco, Texas, only one LCS. Every week from the week the Ultimate Fallout 4 came out, every week that they would still have one on the shelf, I would buy a copy because I said, man, I don't want this book to do bad and then they not go forward with the character. So anytime
Yeah.
if a Miles book came out and they had one on the shelf, the next week when I went in, I would buy extra because they had a limit, one per book. So pretty much every visit, one per book. So I would always buy extra one every time I came in. And the guy that used to always be on the cash register would joke on me. He's like, "Well, we ain't got to worry about selling these because you gonna buy all of them."
Don't mind if
So
I do,
the
sir.
Ultimate
Who's
Fallout
laughing
4s,
now?
yeah, and I remember how I lost a lot of my Ultimate Fallout 4s. Me and my buddy was staying together in the apartment, and somebody broke in and they came through the window in my room. And my box with the Ultimate Fallout 4s and all my mouse stuff was like sitting right below the window. So like they trampled on that coming through, and they threw all the books out. Searching for stuff and jacked them up. And I remember I got mad and I was like, oh, I'm gonna just throw it away. It's messed up. And my wife was like, no, don't do that. They could still be worth something one day. That shit ain't gonna be worth nothing. And now I'm looking at 8.5 Ultimate Fallout 4s is selling for $500 and
Yeah.
$600. I say, well, I'll be damned.
I know, man. It's crazy with
So,
that.
that's just how I be, man. Like when you
that was your way of helping to lower the print count. So
I did my part. Man. And all right, fellas, how y'all feeling? Y'all got anything else on your mind? Or y'all ready to shut it down for the night?
I mean, bro, we can go for fucking 6, 8,
Days.
10, 12, 24 hours if we really want to.
Man, I personally, I would love to, but I'm fighting that COVID fatigue,
Yeah,
and
man.
it's nighttime. So even
feel you,
though,
man.
here's the crazy thing about COVID. Even though I'm pretty sure if I step outside in Texas, it's probably still 96 degrees right now.
Hot
But
as
that little
hell.
bit in temperature drop makes a difference in how that so it's 92 right now. So that's like 70 degrees on the Texas night. So
Bro, when
then
I
it's
was
gonna
in
get
Dallas, I felt like I was opening up the oven and looking straight into it everywhere I was going, my dude. I can't live away from the beach. I need that breeze, dude. It was like dead air. I had to take a shower every time I walked somewhere.
so
Horrible, man.
yeah. Because I mean, I live in Houston, so it's kind of like Dallas,
Get the bay
but I
kinda?
get that beach like
Yeah,
humidity.
exactly.
So when I went to Orlando, I was like, cool. I took my vacation to go into another swamp, and
Yeah.
I was
I'm like
all right,
directly east of Orlando on the beach, and you
yeah,
probably relate to it.
yeah. So I was like, kind of
Culture.
like, all right, cool, like, all right, no big deal, whatever. And
Yep,
then,
it's 86 with like 89% humidity, so it feels like 96, and it's 11:35 p.m. at night.
Yep.
So
yeah, I'm right there with you. It's 85 degrees right now, and it feels like it's 95.
Yeah.
But we have the quick chance of a freak thunderstorm happening out of nowhere, so.
Oh, you mean like clockwork at 1 o'clock every afternoon?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So like, and for me, like last night between 6 and 9 p.m., I was actually at my air handler clearing a fucked up drain, and had the float switch, kill the unit, had to go out there, pull the front panel off of it, and clear it with. Thank God Amazon does 24-hour delivery, and I was able to get a pipe cleaner big enough to fish all the way through that drain line and get pieces of insulation and a sticker that was wrapped around one of the coils that had the moisture gotten to it, and it fell in the drain. So my AC unit wasn't draining, my house wasn't cooling right. AC unit was running all the damn time, and this is a pretty fresh install from a very reputable AC company around here. So I'm like shaking my fist at this thing right now, man. Like, so, but I got it all squared away. It's 72 degrees in the house. Got down to 68 last night, nice and comfortable. And so that's how we live down here in Florida, where air conditioning runs all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. If you like it colder, then or I'm sorry, there's a joke saying that if you have your AC set to 74 or higher, that you're actually in a terrarium, you lizard.
Yeah, I could agree with that, especially midday, man. It's like a fucking swamp in here, man. That's awesome. Well, boys, I wanted to say, James, with that comment that just popped up too, that's exactly what it's like right now. Blue chips and all that, man. It's exactly what I've heard that so much right now. So, James,
Yeah,
been awesome tonight, man.
I just hate the idea of buying some shit because it's old. Especially if we talking about the Marvel Spec game.
This thing's ripped up, bro. It still go for like $50-$60. Top a good, very, very fine condition. This will go for like $150.
You can find books that are nothing special.
Nothing special. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Give me that nothing special. I love my black suits, dude.
You see that? It says nothing special.
Nothing special.
$5.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's just it. And I see people making videos hating on the modern spec because it's sometimes it's a little quick.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like as far as like it's some modern spec books that it's definitely a quick flip. But man, it's some modern books out there that just bro like unobtainable. Are you just
those
really
Killmongers you threw up at one point, bro? I was sweating over those. I was like, I ain't never fucking seen this book.
Are you talking about what?
He threw up like a 1 in. Was it like a 1 in 100 or something?
He's talking about
Killmonger.
Killmonger.
Yeah. What did you
the 1 in 50 or the 1 in 25?
You did like a 1. I thought you did like a 1 in 100 or a 1 in 150 for that.
I've had that.
That's the 1 in 25.
That's the one you threw up, man. And I was like, I never found that book because I found the cover A, but I could never find that 1 in 25, dude. And that's what got me on Killmonger. I've been stacking up.
So
I've too.
I've had that book and I used it to trade up to get this book. So I'd much rather have that Ji-Hung Lee Spider-Man 1 in 100.
So
I mean, there's other books I sacrificed too, but like I don't know.
My Killmonger, the call I found it in the back issue being for $4. The back was a little messed up. It wasn't on 9.8, but I found it in the back issue being for $4. And that's the crazy thing about modern. It's like some hard to find or some very nice books that's just you really won't see them, and when you do see them, it's in the most bizarre places, man. Like just out of this world places that you wouldn't expect to see a book at. And it's been like that with any like hard to obtain modern book that I found. Is just been just random, like honestly, it's more like the sweat equity of digging in that box of books that's been under a table at your LCS, and you ask, hey, is it okay to go through those books? Yeah. We ain't been through them in 10 months, and we don't think it's shit in there, but
it's just dynamite in DC, man.
Yeah, you get to digging in there, and boom, you see a grail up in there, man.
You come across like an Indiana Jones #1, you're like, this is weird. You look a little more, you're like, Hulk, Wolverine, some Marvel. I'm loving this, and I love that.
Yeah. And then that's when you just put a big pile in front of them, so you don't, hide that.
Oh, we haven't priced that stuff yet. Oh no worries. Let me help you out and find the keys for you.
Yeah.
Oh, future stock. Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and look through that.
Oh,
To be priced. Oh, no worries. I'll find a couple of books I probably want to buy.
Or when you buy that bundle of like Iron Man 1 through 12, and it it has 7 and 9 in there still, and then when you pull out what issue number 9 is, and it ends up being the AOA version, you bought that whole bundle for $60. You're kind of like, not my fault. I'm not the one that taped it.
The first Iron Man 1 through 12. I found a 1 through 12 set at a gaming shop. They used to sell comics, but they stopped selling comics. I'm guessing right around that time that they put Riri and all of them in the comics, because they had 2 sets of that 1 through 12 for $30 a piece.
You bought both of
I
them,
bought
right?
both of them. I didn't open it up.
Rocky.
I didn't try. I just bought them. Crazy thing was, I asked him, I was like, man, you think y'all could take 45 for both of these? And it was like an old woman up at the register. She was like, why not, honey?
I gotta love getting those ladies. That was me when that Superior Iron Man spec came out in the multiverse drop, where everybody was freaking out about that. I went into the dollar bin, found that Superior Iron Man #1, that Marvel Now. I was like, this is in the dollar bin. I didn't go look for another comic. I bought that one, put it in the bag with me, and walked around with it and shopped for everything else because it was straight up dollar. Went home and sold that for $35. It was the fastest sale I've ever had too.
So can I ask, was that juice really worth the squeeze?
I was in the dollar bin anyways.
Okay.
It didn't feel good. It didn't feel good selling that. I'll tell you that. Didn't feel good.
No. I mean, you're talking to a guy who sold the Last Jedi Star Wars issue at the peak, knowing that not only were the movies trash, but the spec related to it was probably going to be just as good as the movie.
Okay, I'm at the right place then.
But to me, I look at things super different than I did back in like 2012, 2013, 2014 time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Like back then, I could go to an LCS and find a spec book, find like 10 copies of it, pick the ones that I want and give the ones to the store and still not be taxed.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that now.
Not at all.
I miss when Young Avengers 1 was $20.
Yep. I'm that $20 Young Avengers book that I had the COVID sale, because that was a 9/8 candidate, spine break free, very beautiful copy, and somebody got a really wicked good price on it. A lot of the books that I sold, I sold for good money, like at sometimes maybe even a sales record, but then those numbers were like later eclipsed. I sell when a book's on the way up, and it feels good. You make money on it, but when you see that book continuing to do one of those Bitcoin rises to 60 grand, and you got out at 25, you're like, man.
Back what James is talking about, hold your blues, man. You gotta hold those blues, and they always stay consistent.
But I mean, he's still talking about the modern aspect of it as well. That that market's very volatile, which I don't disagree.
Super.
And it's hard and it's hard sometimes to predict, to see that like, hey, this book is going to shoot to the moon, because no one can predict that.
Right? And that's what I'm getting at, is the volatility of the modern market. In order for me to think it's worthwhile, like I'll look at a book and if it's anything outside of what I'm trying to read, or if I'm trying to collect like a variant set of a run or anything like that, if I'm looking at a book and I'm seriously like, I want to grade it and flip it, I'm looking at 500 to 1,000% profit. After sales, after cost, after all that. If I can't make that, I'm probably not buying that book. Because to me, now with expensive as fuel is, and if I'm not already at a convention, I'm not already at a store, like you're already in that dollar bin, I'm here, might as well, right? Like one in Rome. Like if I'm not already in that environment looking for something, then I'm usually not going to chase it, which is one of the reasons why the convenience of eBay, Amazon, online comic shops, and all the other places that we really like, our online honey holes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sitting right here in front of the computer. I get Rakuten, I get eBay points, I get all the cash back, I get all these benefits. Like even Lolly's giving me, Bitcoin if I really wanted it instead of the Rakuten.
Yeah.
I don't think you want the Bitcoin right now. So, I mean, there's like so many incentives to find like the things that we used to be able to find plethoras of back in the day. and it's just not that way. I remember going and picking 25 copies of Vengeance #1 from the local chains. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to
Imagine
have
hearing that today.
and all of them are gone. All of them are gone for like $40, $45. Like I think that like the highest I think I ever got for one of those was like maybe 50, and then, just the higher grade near mint ones. But it's just one of those things that speculation has changed with apps like the Key app, telling everybody what to buy. But I like to tell everybody who's watching this show here,
Yep.
if it appears on that app, it's not the time to buy that book; it's the time to sell that book.
The book. Yeah.
Yep. 100%. I see it as this, the puppeteer. It's, I forget. I think it was like someone on Instagram posted it was Whatnot, CBSI, and Key Collector all doing the puppeteer to the comic community, and I'm like, it's a lot of where that speculation hits, man. It's crazy.
Do you blindly just listen to the reports that are put on the news, or do you look into them yourself? That's basically what this comes down to, and applying it to comic books is like, people who watch the news and then people who watch the headlines, and people who sample those headlines and think that they know the news, and then when they meet somebody who's well researched and they drop that W2F, you're a conspiracy theorist.
Dude, that's the difference in the moderns there is you got to take hours to look at those moderns, but when you come across something old like this, like what does it take you? Not but a couple minutes to make sure that to verify just a couple things with it. But with that modern, you're like, now I got to consider the grade. I got to consider the artist. Is it an exclusive? Did it do this? All that. So I don't know. Like I will say Bird City lately, you put me on them, dude, they've had some great stuff lately, but I don't know what it is about exclusives with the community of Whatnot lately. There's been a few hitters and then they just fly right away, and then it's like, I want to see
some of that memory hole in, man.
Sometimes
they're
like
hot,
that.
sometimes they're not. But I can tell you right now, there's when we were at MegaCon, I was hanging out with Mel V, and it was hype man and him in his Whatnot sales in the booth, and we noticed a few books that were like, wow, man, like if these properties take off, like I'll just go ahead and say it, Final Boss. If Final Boss takes off, holy shit, that Whatnot exclusive is a monster of a book, because it predates everything else as far as I know, right? Like that came out before.
Yeah. That I asked Jack to be for sure, but I'm pretty sure that book that was at MegaCon predates everything else, because issue #1 of Final Boss just came out at Dallas.
That was an issue #1 first
think.
print they claimed at Dallas too.
Yeah, that was the one. But they remember they had the Final Boss.
At the Orlando,
I think it was more like it was kind of more like a trade, but yeah, that's the one you were talking about.
Didn't they have a Kickstarter for that as well?
There's also the Artist Elite Comics that actually has that primer edition that may have been the Kickstarter. I don't know, but it was actually offered through previews. But that also has the Final Boss character in there. So that's Tyler Kirkham. And from my understanding, there was a shakeup at AWA, and people are like changing companies again. There's another Image like Revolution. There it is.
That's Sylvester, man. I love that.
So there's another one of those revolutions in comic organization. And I don't know if it's just having to do with CERN, Jim Lee looking at talking to Marvel. Like,
Jim Lee, that's what it is.
Everybody making a big deal out of that news too. Like Jim Lee talking to Marvel is serious. Casada's out,
yeah.
Jim Lee in.
Oh.
What?
That's money.
That could be a big game changer too to the comic industry. I mean,
because
or more of the same.
I don't know if Jim Lee really had the input like Dan DiDio or Jeff Johns really did at DC, like, or if the corporate overlords there really, because remember when Rebirth came out and then they were like, you know what, we're going to slim down the line. It's going to be like just these main characters, and then we're going to have a couple of supporting. DC really did slim down the line after a few months, or let's say a few years of the Rebirth stuff going on for a while. So I don't know really what Jim Lee was able to pull over there.
Well, because what the rumor was that Jim Lee was mainly just like a figurehead at that point, anyways. Where It's like, okay, we're gonna throw,
yeah.
we're just gonna throw him onto a 1 in 500 and call it a day or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like they're doing that with Jock right now on the Batman covers. I feel like
the
they're
1
doing
in
that.
50s.
I feel like they're doing that to Jock right now.
Well, Jock is one of their older, more famous artists that haven't left the company with a bitter taste in their mouth or been shit canned directly.
Yeah.
So
I just hate how they're going. I just noticed that pattern that it goes with.
If you haven't noticed, DC is now definitely on the newer artists because you can pay them less type of mode.
Oh yeah.
But hitting success with some really talented artists.
Oh, like that. Is it a Zadarki that's coming out this week for? What was that? That's coming out for this week.
Well, it's that notoriety too, right? That like, hey, I made it to a big company. Here's my name. Here's my work. I'm gonna throw down.
DC has helped out a couple of really good artists in the last couple of years. I mean, that's the truth.
So's a Micah.
Mateus Manhanini, Rock the Lynn.
His first cover was Hardware #1 on the Hardware Season 1 when they redid the milestone stuff. You can still get that for a cover price. I mean, he's gonna blow up this year, man. He's gonna blow up this year. Mahanini, he's gonna blow up this year, man. Let me see if I can find that cover.
He did the Black Panther second print.
Yeah, he did the Tosin second print.
Yep.
And that one Miles cover that was hot for a while.
Yep, the Miles 1 in 25. He did he got a cover. He got a Shuri cover coming for Wakanda #1 that looks really good.
I'm waiting for that. I love my Shuri right now, man.
So you guys want to know one of my favorites of his lately? The Excellence #1, the open order variant.
I sat there one day, like I was saying, at the dollar bin day, and I grabbed that just in case, because I knew I was like, excellent #1. I love the cartoon color pop too on that.
Low order books of new artists like that. So there's also like that one Frisian Marvel book that popped up on just like it was aware to people who follow FOC and stuff.
I love Frisian so much, man.
Savage Avengers Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, no way. I've been waiting on my Cloak and Dagger, man.
So Savage Avengers #2 of this newest volume had that open order Jenny Frisian Cloak and Dagger variant, and it's one of those Frisian.
I love Frisian, man. I'm buying all the Frisian Grims. I don't care what it is. I'm all on those. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's Hardware Season 1 #1. That's the first Mateus Mahanini. This is his first published artwork.
What's that going for?
I mean, it's not an expensive book. Pretty sure you can probably get it for cover price.
Yeah, that's
artist first, man.
I'd take that. Yeah, I'd take that. Honestly, if I'm going to talk about an artist, Raza, man. I like Raza too.
Yeah, I love
if
Raza.
Didn't have over 500 credits, we would be looking at an episode of Drunken Chat with that on it. But
I found some early. Yeah, Melvin wanted that Raza Spec Matrix for a long time.
That Raza Predator 1 is like $200 right now, but that cover is completely. He killed it on that cover.
Damn it! I forgot to tell Ant to order my goddamn Predators, man. Shit.
Don't worry, there's gonna be more than enough store exclusives on Predator #1.
I was gonna say Bird. I think Bird and Hive just dropped one. It's pretty good.
They've only had a year to prepare for that release Predator, right?
I've been waiting for them Predators for the longest, man.
Did I not say I wanted that #1? I wanted that #1, that 1989, man. I'm big on that first print. I'm looking on eBay for that.
I'll say this, when I was on Comic Book Food Chain, we were supposed to do a release of Predator. That's how long I've been waiting for a Predator book to be released. I mean, I'm not saying I would attach my name to Predator now, but still, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Ninth got to get to bed, man. I know.
I try to hold on, man.
But, I know you are. Man. I'm sorry for blabbering longer.
No, y'all good.
I gotta pack books and all that.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Let me do this. All right. So you got Yeezy Yee, Ultra Maximus, Mellow for Press. fellas, y'all got any shows, any whatnot sales, anything of that nature coming up this week?
I think my next show is Cover Picks with you.
Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah. And then I'm sure I have something on. I have Long Story Short on Nearing Nirvana. You can catch me on Drunken Chat. And then Sunday, and then The Amazing with Brian McClay on Saturday. Oh, my schedule is like filled up. And then you can catch me on Whatnot on Sunday, and then usually Mondays. Oh, there you go.
Ultra? What do you got? I'm kind of interested to hear if Ultra's got any sales, to be honest, from what he's been dropping.
See, here's
that
the
Yondu
thing,
hit me. That Yondu hit me hard.
I would love to do another Whatnot sale, and there's going to be some in the future because I've been working very hard. But I'll be honest, repairing the AC in the house, painting the house, pressure washing the house, doing all sorts of other stuff. Kid finally in his kindergarten camp before kindergarten starts next month. So I'm having a wild time being a dad and a husband and all the other good stuff. So I'm working towards it.
Yeah.
But I'm also working on a massive amount of content for our wonderful viewers here, not only with these guys, but also on my own channel with some other retooling and some things that I've got going on. But that does not start until the kid can go to school, because once the kid's in I can't ignore my kid for a full Wednesday, man. Like, he's home with me. He comes to the comic book store now, before camp started. So I had to put my show on hold because, again, I can't ignore my kid for a whole day. It's hard doing it on weekends, but the wife is here. So I tell you what, to catch more of me, I really recommend you watch Thor: Love and Thunder before you go and watch Spec Matrix on Drunken Chat this past week. Because I tried not to be spoilerific, but let's just say I hinted at some things, and I'm gonna give you guys a couple more days before I go full on blabbermouthing.
I'm an idiot. I already sold my Hercules #1 the other night to make it a real nice night the other night. So
don't worry, that Hercules #1 has a bunch of copies because everybody thought that was going to be like the hugest book back in the day. It really wasn't.
I love to hear
that. I bought mine for cheap, and I was like, I let mine go too. I was like, kind of like, cool, I can let it go.
Yeah.
So I do have in the works. I have a pickup video in the works. Another Raw report coming at you guys. See what I've been picking up. I looked at the last date, and it was April the last time I did a Raw report. So it's gonna be kind of.
I can't believe it's been that long, man.
I'm gonna
tell y'all why Ultra don't want to have no Whatnot sale. Because if somebody say, "Oh, I don't want that Whatnot money," that mean they got nothing but heat sitting up in them boxes, and they don't want to come up off it. But Ultra, I think if you did like one show a month and you advertised it a month ahead, and like every week you went in and dropped like 2 or 3 really hot books, I think you would really build up that high-end audience on Whatnot, and you would blow it out like doing a once-a-month sale, because then you would have people like me, Mello, Yee, Mel, all the sellers and the sharks would be in there big time to get some of that stuff you got up in there.
I know what happens when I just even like chum the waters, man. I've seen it.
See, that was early. I'm telling you, it's different. It's different.
Yeah, it's hot right now.
So let me just say this. What if I told you my master plan was I picked up 11 short boxes to complete my collection and organize alphabetically and sort what I want to sell, what's going in the Ultra box, and what's going to be PC. That's a mastermind stuff. But
yeah.
I like the inventory aspect. You can never have too much inventory in this game. I've found
what if I told you I have almost every book except for the books that I have to show people yet logged? I know how many books I got. So with the exception of the books that I have not gotten logged yet, I'm gonna pull up my thing here real quick, and I'm gonna give you guys a number. And it's not for anybody who thinks that their life is worth anything that I have inside my home, because it's not advised. High-speed lead, free of charge, but the consequences.
Mello, what you got coming up this week? I know you got more Whatnot shows.
I got another show coming up tomorrow. We're gonna be busting out some giveaways. I'll be doing some nutty stuff once again. I'm looking to hit 2K this week, so.
All right, the number is 6737.
Oh, 6737. That's a stack and you said you got what? That's inventory, those 11 boxes?
No. That was just the short boxes. All right, so I had to buy short boxes. I still have long boxes that I have to break down and put into the short boxes, and then take the inventory that I want to put on Whatnot and put that back into the long boxes. I have a long box next to me full of inventory. I have a short box. So I moved the ultra box into. I took the slabs and the big stuff out, and I was able to fit the books into a short box with the slabs on top. And then I'm going to be adding more books to the ultra box giveaway. I just got all my paperwork
Check
in order.
this out. I'm ready for Ultra now. I'm tuning in, man. You got me excited.
So it's a lot of work, though, man. It's a lot of books to move around and be like keep, sell. You know, it's a pain in the ass. But
I feel like you get more. I feel like the juice is worth the squeeze more when you take your time on Whatnot. When you take your time, you put your best lineup of books for it. You promote it. You take good pictures, condition, everything. Especially when you got good books. You know what I'm saying? Because when you got good books, people gonna know.
Catwoman and what I did Adam Hughes Catwoman sale.
Was that your last sale? That was a long time ago.
That wasn't my last sale, but that was one of those like groups. So like when I do sales like that, it's gonna be like sets. Like one of the sets I will tell you guys I got coming, John Kent.
Okay.
Nice.
I'd take that.
So like early appearances, Super Sons, the Superman run with him in it, Action Comics with Oz, aka abusive grandpa Jarrell.
Man, guys, just a quick heads up. I do have an exclusive interview coming up this week with the Beachside crew, Mello, Beachside Hobbies himself, Tony, Webster's Vault, aka Joe. We'll be doing an interview with Kickster Damas on Thursday, which is actually this week at 8 p.m. Also joining us on that show is going to be Mr. Bolo, aka Jack from Whatnot. So we'll have both of those guys on to talk about comics, these conventions we've been working together, and everything of that nature. So it should be a lot of fun, man. This is gonna be Mello. This is actually your second time on the channel, but this to be your third time on the channel later on this week, man. It just all I can say is, man, I love working with Mello, Beachside, Webster's Vault. I love working with all three of those guys. Did two cons with him so far. Mello, you wasn't at Denver, but you coming to SDCC, Mello?
Yes, sir. Okay, I can't miss that one. That's a birthday bash. It's my birthday, Beach's birthday, Rage's birthday. We got Hive's birthday.
Awesome. So that'll be my third time working with these guys. Man, pretty fun guys to be around, man.
We're riding out on SDCC, right? Me, you, Webb, and Beach.
We what?
I think Webb's looking for some 8 billion genies for that room, right?
For what room?
For that SDCC trip.
Oh, for some genies?
Yeah.
I don't know about them genies, man.
Hey, you threw the idea in there. You know what he's coming for.
I made for that room. I get him them genies, man, because he found a good deal on that.
On that room, I see why you want to buy my copy now. I get it.
See, I'm trying to trade because I ain't got no genies left on. I think I might have 1 or 2 left. Trade Yee for his, trade Dark Evolution Comics for his, then trade those to Joe for the room. It's called hustle.
Right? That's the cycle right there, man.
I know Hive will be at SDCC.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, big shout out to my boys over at Hive. They've been at all the cons, man. You know, Hive, everybody know Hive is cool to hang out with. We got to really go over that, but you know, Hive definitely cool to hang out with. So man, it'd be fun going to these cons and just hanging out with people. You know, got to hang out with Ultra and MegaCon. Me and Yee done did a couple of cons together. That's honestly that's the best part of the cons is just hanging out with your bros, man, and finding books together, buying out exclusives together, getting your hustle on together, man. Like
walking the con floor that's as big as a football field.
Yeah, man, it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing like it, man. It ain't
3
nothing
or
like
4
it.
times.
$10
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A sandwiches, just a sandwich. That's what blew me away.
Oh,
Oh,
see,
you know what,
so
Mello,
here's the secret.
you're
Here's the
from
secret.
here, right? I'm sorry. The Four Rivers. Do you know about Four Rivers? I talked up Four Rivers because it is some of the best barbecue in Orlando, and I got the expensive Four Rivers at MegaCon, and it was the worst fucking sandwich I've ever eaten.
Oh, I bet.
Okay, here's the secret. You buy a sandwich at Wawa, and you bring it into the con. I'm not even joking. I did
This
that
man
one
knows.
day. Yeah, I was like, because
If I ate of those sandwiches with the con prices, man, I'm telling you.
exactly. I like one dinner one night. I was like, I told the Uber driver just drop me off at Wawa because I knew like to try
I'm
the
gonna walk
sandwich,
with
and then I ended up ordering the extra one, throwing it in the fridge, bringing it to the con the next day, and I was like, I was joking around with all the whatnot sellers. I was like, shit, it's my day to sell today. I'm gonna throw up the sandwich, $1 1 minute, see what happens.
You got all the sellers from the con up there.
I know.
Yo,
Just send
Nine,
them
you've
a
been
shipping
taking
label.
vitamin C and stuff, man. You need to hit that, bro. When I was
Yeah.
feeling bad,
Yeah.
bro, I did emergency and I did those gummies, man. That's what brought me back in like a
Yeah,
day.
I haven't took nothing, bro. I haven't took nothing.
You need to, bro. I'm telling
Yeah,
you. I suffered for days and I did that, and my mom was like, "You're an idiot. You should have just done that a couple days ago."
yeah,
It's crazy.
I'm gonna do that. Yeah. And was one last thing I wanted to say.
We were
Dang,
talking
I
about
forgot what it
dollar
was.
sandwiches.
Oh no, I had a pub sub for the first time in Florida. When I went for the cruise, I
Nice.
finally had my first pub sub, and I was asking my father-in-law, and mother-in-law. I said, "Man, many times we done been up here to Florida. Y'all ain't never told us to get a pub. I always get Publix chicken. I love Publix chicken. Whenever I go, I always want to get Publix chicken.
On deck,
Uh,
Publix
woof,
chicken tender sub right
yes,
here, bro.
sir. Man,
See,
I
that,
had my first
that right
pub.
there is
Fire.
definitely some Florida.
I had my first pub sub. I said, man, this thing is wicked.
So wait.
Man,
I gotta ask, what did you have for a pub sub though? What kind of sub did you get?
I got the chicken tenders tossed in the
What a choice.
in
Okay.
the in the
You got
buffalo sauce.
introduced into it right.
So
So
indeed, when you get the Publix chicken tenders on a sub, that is one of the best chicken tender subs you will ever get.
Yep.
Wawa, however, does have the menu. They've also got the variety. They got the cheesesteaks. Wawa's down here also selling cheeseburgers now, bro. They
Club
got different
sandwich at
deals.
Wawa. Let me tell you that, bro. That thing is crisp. The BLT or something like that. I'll take that.
But Publix has that boar's head down here too.
Yeah.
So if you ever want them deli sandwiches, my God, bro, when you come back, not only do you need to have one with the chicken tender sandwich one night, and then during lunch one of the other days, man.
Boar's head ultimate. Ooh.
Yep.
yeah,
Man,
what I'm gonna
I'm
do
dying.
is when we go to take my wife little sister back, I'm gonna give me a chicken tender sub the night before and probably or for lunch the day previous. But while I'm there, I'm gonna get some cold cut subs, and then we can just pack them up and take them on the road with us the next day. But I think that's what I'm gonna do.
And if you don't do it before you come back for MegaCon next year, and I don't end up going to that car show in the mountains, I will see you then.
God, and Ultra's a car guy. Holy shit, man. We're gonna hit it, man. I like it.
This is car guy. Yeah, Ultra is the car guy, man.
Oh man, my dad's got an RCF Lexus. He loves that thing, man. That V8. We've been playing with that lately. He just dropped a new exhaust catback on that, dude. Whew. I've been playing with that. It's fun.
Ultra. Man. Do you see a Transformers fan, man? You know.
You ride bikes at all, or you just cars?
No, I'm not suicidal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would ride a bike, but
your temptation in a car is probably already bad enough.
I need four wheels and air conditioning, and to not have the urge to probably. Well, let's just say the last time I rode a motorcycle was 21 years ago. It was a brand new CBR 600 F4. Wasn't slow, not by any means. I didn't think I was going very fast, and I was doing 120.
Yeah, I got a 1190 cc, and I just the other day, man, I popped the wheel up so high, I was like, You know what? That's not gonna happen too much more.
Speaking of popping wheels, I went and looked at a car in Jacksonville because I decided to drive 2 hours to waste my time. And after we left the dealership without the car that I went to look at, there was a guy basically had a 12 o'clock bar on the back of his seat and riding a wheelie the whole way up the road until a cop, and then he put it down. I mean, like this guy, like he dropped it next to somebody and then pulled it back up and was riding the wheelie for at least a good mile and a half.
Yeah, he crazy. Yeah, he's a crazy mother. Yeah.
It's Jacksonville, bro.
Yo, when I saw those riders out in
Duval.
Texas, man, they got some riders out in Dallas, man. Those guys are street racing all night long. I'm like, what the hell is this, man? Nobody gives a shit about that.
Right. All right, guys. I got to get up
Yes,
out
sir.
of here. I got to eat. I'm gonna take out advice and take some emergency or some
It's the
vitamin C
immune
or something
system,
like
man.
that.
That's the first place
And
you want to
then
attack the immune system.
I think Better Call Saul came back tonight, so I'm gonna watch that. But damn, it's been a blast, man. It's been a blast.
Almost 3
Thank
hours.
y'all, fellas, for showing up and showing out. Yee, I'll see you Wednesday. Taylor, I'll see you Thursday. Ultra, I'll see you Friday on Drunken
I'll
Chat.
see you Wednesday for Kicks.
It's Kicks Thursday. Kicks Thursday.
Oh,
not
is it
Wednesday.
Kicks this Thursday? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Kicks is Thursday.
Oh,
All right.
okay, the 14th. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, y'all. We out of here.